my dog. He's 6 years old. He's probably got another 4 or 5 years left in him. He's not moving around too well. And when he's in too much pain, and it's too painful for him to walk around and live a happy life, I'm gonna take him and I'm gonna put him down because I love him. And it was 1 year ago I tried to put you down like a dog because I love you. And your body got the message, but your brain didn't get the message. You want another shot, Nikki? I'll give you one last shot. It's gonna be title versus your career.
Where's my fucking gang at? Ron, not only you gonna have to go through me, you're gonna have to go through the whole SDK gang around this fucking world.
These people, they say they love me, but I don't know if they care about you as much as I do. I was willing to walk over you, step on your head in Atlantic City and beat you so that you would go home for good. Because I love you.
All I got is fucking professional wrestling. I got nothing else. So you're either gonna have to fucking kill me, or I'm gonna walk away with that wrong championship title around my waist.
Welcome to the GCW Plant Podcast, episode 28. Once again with us, Mr. John J. Wolf. How are you doing tonight, John?
Once again, I'm doing fantastic, man. How you doing?
Doing good. Still a little tired from school today, but overall doing good. And actually just waiting to cover this Fight Club Night one. I'm actually kind of excited because quite a few things to say on this show. Good and stuff I think is noteworthy that to bring up just to make it aware for people out there. Night one was from the Garden Pier, which is right next to the Showboat. They had it outside because they had a double booking on Fight Club, which is pretty funny that they had a kickboxing show going on in the Showboat while this show was going on. So that's why they moved it outside to the pier in Atlantic City, New Jersey. But I actually did like the whole outside feel and look of it, especially as the kind of night went on. What did you think of the outside, have it being outside?
Okay, so that was something I was going to mention, so that was really good to bring that up, though. A beautiful backdrop of the ocean. I don't think you can disagree with me there, like that beautiful blue. It was just fantastic, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little, and I think it was Emil that mentioned it, but the spooky dust that comes out of those light tubes looks absolutely fantastic against that black night sky because you can see every little particle as it goes through. So I really like that a lot. It was 56 degrees out there. That's freezing coming off of, if you've ever had any of that wind that comes off the ocean, it gets a little cold.
Yeah, they did. I saw that you could see their breaths throughout the night as they're taking breaths, wrestling. You could see kind of it in the air, which I thought was pretty cool.
And Emil's like, I'm outside.
I did like that part too. And so like, I'm in Atlantic City. Like how you said, I'm outside. So I very much like that part. With it, I do like if you're going to be at the same spot 2 nights and you could do one night outside and it's not too big a deal, which I don't think it seemed to be because they kind of announced at the last second, but maybe they was in the plans and they were just kind of were going to spring that on the fans a couple days prior. So I didn't mind having night one being outside because it was added cool looks, and then night two,
and we were at
inside.
home.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, we weren't freezing.
And it kind of reminded me of like when Moxley first confronted Gage for the first time in GCW in the ring when they had the collective outside. So I kind of liked how the whole outside presentation kind of felt into kind of the storyline of how the match was going to be. How the match was going to be, but added more to the match because it kind of had the same, to me, the look that as it did when they first kind of got into it. But that is the main event. and we will go into. You want to go over your pre-show remarks first before we head in?
My only other pre-show remark in this was the fact that there was a Gage Moxley promo. Like you said, it felt very similar.
Yeah.
I'll take it. It was nice to have a hype video. It's absolutely fantastic. I believe we may have heard one at the beginning of this, and just listening to the audio, it's so hype. So I loved it.
Yeah, it did. Right away, I was like, is this the same exact video that they did last year? I was like, oh, goodness. I got kind of worried there because it is kind of a replay from Fight Club Night 1 2021 as Nick Gage defended the belt against. No, Moxley was a champion at that time. So kind of the same main event match. So like when I first saw the video, I was like, I thought it was the same exact one, but they did splice in the promo that Nick Gage and Moxley had at Black Label Pro, which I thought was pretty cool. They did mix in new video and new update packages, but for the most part, like every time you see Nick Gage in the jail cell, it looks like it's the same exact footage that they took last year, which is fine because they updated it, as you said. So I didn't mind it, and it kind of added a cool way to start the night off and get kind of amped for the main events coming on later in the evening. And we go into the first match of the evening, which turned into a scramble match. And this was kind of one thing I did want to kind of like, it did kind of annoy me a little bit because I was kind of looking forward to the originally planned match. And I don't think they announced why the change was made or anything, but the original planned match was supposed to be Gringo Loco versus Blake Christian. And those were the first two competitors that came out. And then I kind of got shocked when I saw it kind of turn into a scramble as Jimmy Lloyd, Shane Mercer, and B-Boy ended up coming out right after Blake and Gringo. And so a singles match that I was kind of looking forward to watching turned into a scramble, and it just didn't make any sense to me because you still had both competitors there. And I've seen in the past where, hey, if one of the, like if it's a big singles match, one competitor doesn't make it or can't wrestle for some reason that night, then they turn that one into the scramble match. But they still had both Gringo and Blake in. So I don't know. Did you hear anything on commentary on why that was changed or anything? Or did they just kind of go right into it? Because from my end, I didn't hear anything.
No, I honestly didn't hear anything. And I try to pay attention to that a lot. By even what you were saying there, I didn't even know it was just going to be a 1-on-1, but I understand why you were looking forward to that contest.
Yeah, and I went back to even double check myself because like after Gringo came in, or I think he was the second one, Gringo. I went to go we ordered pizza for the event, so I went and kind of grab a slice, and then I hear like I think it was Jimmy Lloyd was third, and I'm like, why is Jimmy Lloyd's music playing? And then I see Shane Mercer come out, B-Boy. I'm like, okay, so like as the match started with those 5 competitors, I hopped on my phone and I didn't see them announce the change to that match. They didn't say, hey, it's turned into a scramble. And I had to double check myself, and I scrolled on their Twitter for a long time and found the picture and the announcement of them. It was just supposed to be a 1-on-1. So yeah, I was kind of shocked. And then the match started and it turned into a scramble apparently. And I don't want to say kind of what happens. I know we'll kind of get there, and then when it gets there, I'll kind of chime back in. But yeah, what was your kind of thoughts on the beginning to the scramble match?
Yeah, the beginning was 5 men starting off. Blake was getting heavy boos again very early. I put here I'm clueless.
Oh, I forgot.
I know that. My only inkling is I think that there was a lot of play into a heel character, and then when he came out against Moxley, he turned face. He just came out face, and it made absolutely no sense. Otherwise, the only other thing I can think of is that he has a contract possibly coming up. I can't think of another reason why they'd boo a person so much. I don't see it. I don't mind it, but it definitely takes over the show because for me, it's a little bit of a mind fuck. But either way, the boys get starting here and music plays, and people are like, what in the hell is that? Leo fucking Rush comes out. He is unretired again. I don't care how many times he's retired. I'll take it. Leo comes out and he's completely eyeballing Blake, which I knew was going to come anyway. We had fuck him up, Leo, fuck him up chants going on. You're right. This match should have just been a 1-on-1 with Leo coming out, but maybe just Leo wanted to wrestle. Maybe he just wanted to perform. I don't know.
Well, I do know he was announced for this card, so I thought I didn't see any match announced for him, so I thought it was maybe going to be a scramble with those competitors with Leo in it and leave Blake and Gringo out of it. That was kind of like my biggest gripe. And like, I don't understand if those two competitors announced 1-on-1 and there was no explanation to the scramble other than, okay, hey, we got these other 4. We don't really have anything to them. Like, I thought maybe just throw in a quick little 4-way scramble. Like, doesn't always have to be 5, 6, whatever. I wouldn't mind seeing a nice 4-way match between those 4 competitors and leave Blake and Gringo kind of do their own thing 1-on-1. But yeah, I got excited. I am a huge Lio Rush fan. I was the same thing as you said. I started to kind of get off of that train myself of like him retiring, unretiring, retiring, or taking breaks, whatever it is, because it was frustrating for a while. But once he kind of did the same thing at Hammerstein, I remember getting upset at Hammerstein when he didn't come out and wrestle and he was supposed to be in the scramble, the ladder scramble. He wasn't in that one. So I was like, oh, why is he in the scramble? Oh, he backed out again. But when he came out later to fill in for Gresham against Blake Christian at Hammerstein as a kind of a surprise entrant, I was like, I have it on camera. Like, I take back everything I just said, because I was like bitching and complaining, like, Lio Rush quit again. I was so excited to see him. Like, this is bullshit. And then like 30 minutes later, I love you, Leo. Thank you for coming back. So I kind of had that same feeling. I was like, oh, okay, Leo's introduced in this match. And as you said, yeah, he went 1-on-1 right away into Blake Christian. But I had flashbacks to last year's Fight Club, as it was Alex Zane, Ninja Mac, I forgot who the third competitor was, or maybe Leo was the third competitor, but they kind of started the match off the same way with the couple competitors, and now not midway, but a couple minutes into the match, Leo just makes a surprise return and shows up. So it's again, starts to feel like repetitive. Like, why is it feels like Fight Club 2021 again? But as you said, I was happy for Lio Rush getting back in there. It was a fun match. B-Boy looks like old B-Boy, and it feels very nice to see that.
East Coast B-Boy. I really do like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad he is getting on the East Coast, as you said.
Yeah, we were getting a lot of fuck you, Blake chants. This was damn near a Blake and Leo match. It could have really been that, because it had taken all the attention off of everyone else. Overall, it was a Blake-centered match, offensive and defensive. He was in the ring, I think, more than most anyone else during this scramble. Although others were in and they all did a great job, the majority of this match was just focused on the drama, and it was thick. So I'm really surprised they even put a damn scramble on, because all this dense, thick cloud really did, cover the sunshine of this freaking scramble match.
Yeah, I was like really surprised too. Like, why didn't you just keep it like maybe turn it into a Lio Rush takes out Gringo and it's like, no, you don't get Blake. I want my hands on him again, because it seemed like they dominated their whole storyline in this match. And I don't hate it, but I have seen it quite a few times. I would kind of like those two to stay separate and maybe go on to different things. And we might see that as we cover night 2 on the next episode. But yeah, I just didn't understand why Leo came back. They still haven't announced why he's going after Blake again. Even when he did commentary on his original turn in LA, they kind of never really made fully mention, other than Leo just like, I'm here to scout the talent. That's all he really said. So I don't know where they're going with it. I don't mind seeing Lio Rush back. It was nice seeing Jimmy Lloyd, Shane Mercer, and B-Boy at least get some time on to night 1. So I didn't mind that. I don't know. Right away I was kind of thrown off, and I never really connected throughout the rest of the match, other than it was good and fun seeing Lio Rush, but just a lot of stuff didn't make sense to me. But that could just be a me thing. It doesn't really matter though.
One of the things I'm thinking, because it looks like 1 year, what you're saying is 1 year ago, some of these things had just recently, those had happened before. The only thing I can say, because I'm starting to realize that we have a lot of new GCW people, I'm thinking maybe they brought that out because it was just so well done before they did it again. And I'm starting to also realize that in the middle of matches is how Leo likes to come out a lot too. He even did that in AEW. Yeah. He came out. Yeah. So I'm thinking that may be just his style. I'm trying to think when I'm sure a couple times he's came out, on his first match somewhere, debut match somewhere, but it seems like he does that a lot. I'm guessing that might be his style. I'm not sure. And
I don't mind it, because it is sometimes a nice surprise. Like, even this was a surprise seeing him. But like I said, a lot of things just didn't make sense to me on the periphery of the match. In ring, it was a fun scramble. Everybody did really good. Fun seeing all the fun spots. But I just like all the stuff outside periphery kind of took the enjoyment away from me. But I did get a little bit more happier as Lio Rush did pick up the victory as he hits a frog splash onto Jimmy Lloyd. And then Blake and Lio just once again just have little stare downs and
face off. Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? I'm back. I'm here for you, or so. I don't know. Like, it just, I don't know. I would just like to see Lio and Blake kind of branch off from each other. Give me Lio versus Nick Wayne, or Lio versus Jordan. Well, Lio versus Jordan's been done too, but I think, as you said, with all the new competitors, I think there's a lot more fresh matchups and stories they could go.
Oh, I think they'll get there soon too. Let's hope that this one's the blow off. I don't know if I want to call it the blow off, but I hope this one is this is the peak of all of it. The reason why I kind of got thrown off here is I'm looking at my next note because I wanted to kind of mention it. I noticed we have no color commentary, just play-by-plays. In this, we have 2 play-by-plays. Normally, wrestling has a color and a play-by-play situation. The only issue here is that Nick has a really soft voice, and it's more like an NPR style voice. And Prazak, it's almost like they're twins or brothers. So we're getting 2 of the same thing, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but part of the magic of Prazak was that he had a color commentator to bounce off of. He was the one who kind of reeled it back in. It was like just the color, the fan's voice versus somebody going, all right, here's the guy that brings it back to reality. And I just only wanted to mention that maybe not 2 play-by-play guys, because I was watching this show. It was fantastic. It was nice that they brought Emil in because I know Emil helps a lot. But again, his knowledge is so play-by-play. So we had a lot of play-by-play in the commentary, and I'd like to see a color commentator get brought in. Yeah, that's all.
I told you beforehand, before we started the podcast, like, I thought that was MLJ for the first match or 2. And I remember I watched this one with my wife, and I was just like, hey, like, Emil's voice is going to be shot if he has to do all the ring announcing in the ring and do commentary outside and do the GCW show and then do another GCW show the next night. I was like, Emil's going to be shot. But it took me 2 matches to realize, like, oh, that's not Emil. That's Nick Knowledge. Like, I was that's how, like, the sound sounded to me was MLJ. And yeah, I'm kind of glad MLJ didn't have to do all that work because, yeah, he would have had no voice.
Yeah, he'd been shot.
But once again, I think with missing KG with the energy, it just affected kind of the beginning. The first like 10 minutes of this card, I was like ups and downs. I was like, oh, cool Nick Gage video. Oh, it's the same one. Oh, they added different stuff. Okay, I get Gringo Blake. No, I don't. I get a scramble, so that sucks. Oh, I get Lio Rush. Okay, he comes back. That's exciting. It's just right. I was at a mountain of like peaks and valleys here during this first couple 15, 20 minutes of the night. But in ring, it was fantastic. I just don't understand some of the outside stuff that to me didn't need to happen and kind of took away from what could have been a pretty cool match between Gringo and Blake.
I want to be fair to Nick too, because I will say that he has grown. He has a lot better of an understanding of how GCW works now. And he does have a lot of knowledge on the play-by-play. I do see that a lot. The issue is we have this young, fresh company, and the play-by-play is primarily 2 men that are much older, and it sounds like 2 much older men, and I don't think it connects with the 20-some-year-old crowd out there.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
For me, it's the energy levels, but yeah, I can see the same thing.
Oh, yeah, energy level. Yeah. There you go. It should be, hey, welcome to da-da-da-da. And it's more like, hi, welcome to us. We're such and such.
Yep.
Thank you for coming out tonight. We're here for this and that. No, welcome to just coming out tonight. Da-da-da-da-da. I mean, like, really enunciate. We're here. We're fucking happy to be here. That's, thank you for coming. Da-da-da-da. Like, nobody has whoever was there didn't have the capability to do that outside of Emil.
And KG for me
but I mean, who was there? Yeah, that night it would have been Emil. Yeah, I agree with you. No, I just wanted to mention that because I think it would be something worth mentioning. I think if we had Nick Knowledge alone with a color commentator, it would be fantastic. If we had Prazak alone, color commentator, but we have 2 play-by-plays together, and the excitement for such an important show should be, well, let's just say, I mean, anybody can change, and both of those men are quite capable up the levels of excitement.
I do enjoy Nick on the JCW shows because, like, to me, it's, even though it's a lot of GCW talent, the feel obviously feels a little bit different. Not everything needs to be as important with JCW, and I really like how he does the JCW shows because it's just a different level of excitement as a fan, for me, how I feel watching JCW and GCW shows for most of them. There are some, obviously, when we cover some of these JCW shows, they're just as good and the GCW shows that happen that week. So, yeah, good, interesting way to start off the night. Good in-ring action for match number 1. Match number 2 of the evening, we have Shun Skywalker going against Nick fucking Wayne. And I have never seen anything on Shun Skywalker, but just the name alone, I was very excited to see what we had in store. And him and Nick Wayne, pretty fun match. I was like, Nick Wayne, you can still see kind of injuring that shoulder, nursing that shoulder injury, but he's still, I think you made mention on one of the last shows, his legs, his feet work is still fast as shit. So he hasn't really lost anything, maybe except some strength in some of these punches and chops and stuff that I've kind of noticed when he does like the forearm spots. There doesn't seem to be as much power behind it, which I think if it's intentionally, brilliant. If it's not intentional, you can play it off as, hey, he's hurt. That's why he doesn't have the power behind it. So this was, for me, a very fun match. Nice introduction to Shun Skywalker. What was your thoughts on this match?
So you could tell the physicality from Wayne wasn't there 100% because there were moves that would require him to fall or put weight on certain areas that probably wasn't the best for him. It's not like I know the extent of the injury, but he's still playing it up to a degree if it's not real, but it looks very obvious. Skywalker was fast. He was the obvious heel from the beginning. Now, the one thing that I love that Randy Orton does, funny thing that I'm going to mention here that Skywalker does, is that there is not a lot of wasted movement. When Skywalker is walking somewhere, he's going there to do something. When he does a move, he does it. There isn't any unnecessary feet movement, walking around. And I know this is being picky, and this is someone who's watched a long time saying this, but yeah, I really like the fact that coming from someone, he doesn't have to do much to do a lot. I don't have a better way to put that, but yeah, Skywalker was in control for most of the match. It was minimal Wayne offense, honestly. It was a solid competition. And I really do want to see Skywalker back. And I just found out that he will be back for sure in Detroit at Harpo's.
Yeah, that's going to be a
forward to that
match. Yeah, I am looking forward to it after seeing Skywalker this night against Nick Wayne. I was one of those things. I said the same thing. Like I wouldn't mind seeing him again in a GCW ring because he just feels different. The name, the look, his in-ring style. Like I liked everything. His whole presentation and even in-ring work was fantastic. And yeah, this was a nice, fun back and forth match. As you said, Nick Wayne barely had any offense. He seemed to be on the defense a lot, which is fine. I doesn't need to dominate every match. He got his cool spots in. He did the fisherman suplex with the pop-up bridge. I love seeing that. And he sold very good, I think, to Skywalker, which was all like he's, as we talked about before, his selling's gotten so much better. His emotions, you can see it on his face, and telling a better story in the ring with all the punishment he's been taking as of late. But yeah, I have nothing really negative to say during this match. I just like either if Nick Wayne's really hurt and that's why he's not getting those punches in, or if he's just doing that on purpose. Like I just like how the injury part you could tell is affecting him, but they're playing it in storyline and match wise, and they're targeting the arm and the upper body and stuff. So I enjoyed this match, and I definitely want to see Skywalker again because he reminded me of a little bit of a Nick Wayne, a little bit of a speedball. I think he even did like speedballs, like backflip on Nick Wayne. Like, that's like kind of a speedball move I always see. I got had a lot to offer.
That one on my notes right there, the clout cutter that Nick Wayne tried to perform. He caught that shit and put it into a German suplex. I'm like, my God, man. Yeah, him and Commander is going to be fantastic. If we, Ooh.
Skywalker does pick up the victory as he hits Nick Wayne with the SBS. And 10-minute match. It felt fun. I don't think it needed to go as long, especially with Nick Wayne being injured. Entertaining second match of the night, and like I wasn't surprised on it, but I felt like pleasantly surprised watching Skywalker. I never seen him, but just I like the name, the look, the mask, the shirt, the outfit, the tassels. Him coming out like I think he came out kind of like mocking the GCW kind of crowd a little bit too, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I like Skywalker. He adds something, a different element in my eyes to the GCW roster.
They played off of each other really well. And at the end, Skywalker was booed because he was a heel, but he was kind of given claps and cheers as he left. He was really appreciated for coming and giving his performance that night.
Yes, definitely look forward to seeing him and Commander too. As you said, in Detroit, I think that's where you said. That's going to be one to watch out for. Our third matchup of the evening is a matchup between Sawyer Wreck and Alley Catch. And for the next match that these two wrestlers I wanted to see, as we kind of talked about, perfect. This was a matchup I wanted to see. Alley Catch kind of have a crazy, violent match against Sawyer Wreck, and Sawyer Wreck kind of stepping up to the plate against GCW. This was like, in my mind, I had JCW versus GCW in this matchup, as they're kind of like the more well-known women on each roster, the more popular women on each roster as well, and seeing kind of like their trajectories of Alley Catch kind of fighting back in the scene and trying to recover from losing the tag title matches, tag titles, and then Sawyer Wreck on her projection of just keep on improving. I thought this was going to be a fun matchup with a lot of violence possibly. And yeah, it did get violent. And this was, I enjoyed this match. It was perfect for these two women. I thought it was just a perfect combination, perfect timing, like magic. It was perfect magic time to make magic. And I thought they did a really good job.
Seeing Allie in her poison apple gear. I'm kind of a not anymore secret, but a Disney fan. And I love seeing that.
Oh,
Allie,
I get it.
That's what that was. That was the poison apple.
I got it. Oh, and so if we go back to sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I just learned something there. And going back to the Impact, when she wore that gear, firstly in Impact, I remember telling you, like, hey, how come they get the new gear and not us? I didn't even notice it. I just thought it was just green and red. I didn't even notice the poison apple. And that makes sense because in Impact, Master Slamovich picked her to go against Jordan Grace in a pick your poison match. So
that's right.
Very good. I learned something new every day. Sorry.
Yeah, that shit was fantastic. So what kind of got me, the kind of clue was on the back of her pants there. You could see the green was kind of shaped like eyes, and it was kind of evil, and it was on that red background. That is definitely what it was. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Allie did the whole kiss me thing, which was okay. It's kind of, you've seen it. She got beat on extensively by Sawyer, which was really cool to see. She was mostly in control. Sawyer, I'm sorry, was mostly in control in this match. It was an 8-minute ass beating. There was a spot where Doris had come out, and Sawyer does this thing where she kisses Allie on the top rope, because obviously Allie wants that kiss. So she finally got it. But basically Allie kind of jumped not too hot off of the top and didn't really, like, the choke slam just didn't go off well. The door didn't break. And Sawyer Wreck ended up with the pin. She rolled up Allie for the 1, 2, 3. It was a quick 8-minute match. I wish I had more notes on it. Primarily, though, they brawled, and it's hard for me to just put down punch, punch, kick, kick kind of thing. They really did put on a good little 8-minute match. I just wanted to mention really what was noteworthy, and those things I felt were the best.
Yeah, this one didn't get as violent as I thought they would. I was kind of maybe expecting maybe a surprise, someone pulling out a light tube, kind of like, oh, the crowd's like kind of shocked the crowd because none of the fuckery and all that stuff was out there before the match. I was thinking maybe like one of them would go underneath the ring. I was like, all right, time to amp this up a little bit. I'm actually kind of surprised it was shorter. I thought it was going to be kind of a little bit longer. I thought this was going to be a little bigger spot for these two women to kind of, as you said, all the offense was pretty much Sawyer Wreck, and I thought this was going to be one of these matches that shows how much Sawyer has improved and gets a little bit more violent. And I was kind of thinking that the violence would happen because Sawyer would use it to kind of beat Alley Catch, and that would kind of knock Alley Catch into like, hey, I just lost against a JCW competitor, even though Sawyer Wreck wrestled for GCW, and kind of like storyline where Alley Catch is like, all right, I'm at the bottom here. I lost to someone here. I'm no longer the queen of GCW. It might be a new queen.
Good point.
To be the leader of GCW in the women's division. So I might have to build myself back up and kind of work my way back to the top. That could still happen. I kind of quickly Sawyer Wreck did pin Ali after that choke slam up from the top rope. But I enjoyed it. Didn't get as violent as what it was, but I think for storyline and elevating Sawyer, which pretty much this entire match was, I think it definitely served its purpose. I think Sawyer Wreck, you might be seeing a lot more of her in GCW, which I'm fine for. We get to see her grow in front of our eyes, but I just wonder where Alley Catch goes from here after this match. And kind of it feeds into the storyline the next night, which I won't spoil, but even on night 2, I think there's something that we were kind of saying. Hopefully, Alley Catch or something for Alley Catch, and it seems like there might be something coming up here, which might kind of help her get back on track to being the queen bitch of GC. As I think Sawyer Wreck after this match kind of took that crown from her.
Oh yeah, I think that's a lot bigger than commentary made it. Sawyer beat Alley Catch. We don't. I mean, come on, that's our lady. And Sawyer put her down. I think that's something. Yeah, that's something that needs to be. We put more on it, I think, than commentary did. I'm
just thinking, as we watch these matches, as by now all the listeners out there hopefully know, and as the match is happening, I'm just fantasy booking. Okay, where are they going to go from here? What can they do? Oh, this would be cool. Yeah, my mind is going a lot of different places, and then that's kind of where I ended up, and then I kind of like how the next night we might see this kind of thought being put into reality.
Yeah, good work though. They did good work.
Yeah, I didn't mind this match. It was enjoyable. I just kind of was hoping for a little bit more violence, but maybe we'll see that down the line. Into our 4th match we go, as our favorite lovable asshole, Tony Deppen, goes 1-on-1 with Yamato. And this was my first time seeing Yamato. I've kind of seen like little clips, mostly not in ring, but like just his character and kind of like some not vignettes that he's done, but kind of more not in ring kind of work. So I was interested in him because he does seem like has like a most interesting man of Japan kind of feel to me, of how he's like looking down on GCW, looking down at the competitors, looking down at the fans, and he's just kind of like, really, this is what I walked into here, you guys. And I liked how right away Tony Deppen didn't even wait to go out to the ring. He just grabbed the first fans he saw glasses and broke them. my wife even goes like, I hope they weren't his real glasses. Like, I'm pretty sure they're not, but with Tony, who knows? Like, who knows if they were or not? But I liked it. I thought this was going to be a very interesting match, and seeing now how Yamato kind of his gimmick kind of was and his look and stuff. I thought this was kind of a good stylistic matchup.
Deppen's new haircut looks good. I wanted to say he came out fresh. And I noticed between these two, there was a long feeling out process, a lot of back and forth wrestling. I'm counting, 3-4 minutes of this 8.5 minute match. Were these two really having a real wrestling match, an old school back and forth, the part of the match that makes you get invested? And they built that well for an 8.5 minute match. This was atypical Deppen also. He was not very talkative or interactive during this match. Normally he is. I think that's because his opponent was of a much higher caliber than what he's normally used to. But Tony was definitely working Yamato's pace. I do believe Yamato's style is very old school. I won't say old school, but very like an early 90s style. I'm not really sure if he performed a top rope maneuver, and that's perfectly fine because he's an ass kicker, and I'm fine with that. I think Deppen was a perfect opponent for him.
Yes, I 1,000% agree with you then, and I agree. Like, yeah, it didn't feel like a normal Tony Deppen match, and I think, as you said, I think because of the bigger name of Yamato, and we kind of seen this with Tony, the more
respectful.
Yeah, the more respectful, and like the game face is on Tony. Like, hey, I'll do my one shenanigan, then F you, I'm in my zone. I got a goal to accomplish. I'm going to accomplish it. I think he definitely put his game face on, and I am a fan of Yamato now. I liked it, even though it wasn't the high flying, flippy, fast paced match. I loved his just in ring like mannerisms and like looking at Tony like, oh, did you hurt your leg? So sorry. Or, hey, I'm standing over you. Oh, let me fix my hair. I'm in complete control of this match. I can take my time to fix my hair. Like, I loved Yamato. Like, I became a pretty big fan of his now. And they said he came from Dragon Gate. I could be, maybe that was Shun Skywalker. I can't remember. But I do want to, now this is it seems like every show we see new competitor I want to go check out. And Yamato's definitely one of them. And I enjoyed him. And as you said, I think this was a perfect stylistic match for both competitors, where I actually kind of think we didn't see as much as Yamato as we maybe could have. I just think he maybe left a little bit in the tank and a little bit saving it for
a ton.
Yeah.
A ton. This dude seems so capable of main eventing, and I'm sure he has. He's got that in him, dude. He's got that. I mean, just like I said, those first 3 or 4 minutes it was filling out, that could be stretched. And he's obviously one that could do that. Yeah, we don't talk about this enough because we it's so obvious to you and me, but I'm so appreciative Lauderdale has that eye out there, and I'm sure he's got quite a few others like Janela who have a nice eye out there for this talent, and I think that was a nice trade between us and Japan.
Yeah, I definitely, Yamato, want to see him again. I think you were the one who just told me about the Detroit show too. Is it Yamato versus Gresham?
That's a good question. I'll tell you what. Hold with me for a second, and I'll look at.
Well, even if it's not Yamato versus Gresham, that is my match I want to see after this. Oh, okay, yeah. So I am definitely watching that one because I think those two are gonna. It's gonna be one of those Texas catch can style matches, and I'm in a GC. I'm for it. Like, I typically like the high pace scramble matches, the high flying, everything, all that stuff. The in ring, the work, the pacing. I am all for, though, a match like this being thrown in there because I love the technical aspect. I love how they kind of tell a great story technically, as Tony Deppen and Yamato with the facial reactions, the moves, the holding of the moves and stuff like that. My first thought was Gresham. Like midway through this match, I was like, Yamato versus Gresham would kind of kick ass. And yeah, you broke that to me before the podcast, so I am definitely looking forward to that Detroit show just because of this.
So I'll break off for a second and just mention it. Commander versus Skywalker. This is going to be, these 4 matches I'm going to mention are in Detroit at Harpo's on Saturday, October 22nd. Commander versus Skywalker. We have Nick Wayne versus Gringo Loco, Jonathan Gresham versus Yamato, and the GCW Tag Team Championship. This is the DLC match. Mega Bastards versus SGC versus Los Macizos. I'm really looking forward to all of that. And yeah, we've seen Bastards, SGC, and Macizos before.
I forgot about that DLC aspect.
And I really do feel like that's good practice for this. I think it's only going to be better than it was before now that they're a little more familiar with each other.
Yeah, they got a lot of good matchups coming up. I'm glad we're getting Yamato back at a later date still, so it feels nice that I know I'm going to be seeing a little bit more of him before he kind of goes back to Japan, which I'm assuming that he is. I don't know for sure his schedule or how long he's out here for or whatnot, but this was a fun match. Nice middle of the card match, very entertaining,
quality
very
wrestling.
Yes, very different, and I loved it. Tony Deppen does pick up the win as he hits his Shining Wizard on Yamato for the victory.
And I'm really learning what to expect seeing certain performers now. So once I knew that was a Deppen match, I could expect a more quality wrestling match. And it's to a point now to where I love watching some of these people come in and have to go through our gatekeeper. Yeah, I really do. Yes. I'm kind of proud to have that technical wrestler like he is. And we're fortunate we do.
And like he always brings out the best of his competitors. Like,
yep.
And we're going to see, and it's always going to be fresh matchups, which obviously we both like seeing that. So yeah, I definitely like seeing new competitors prove a point to go through Tony Deppen before we see him again or them again. And this will lead us into our 5th matchup of the evening, which might be one of the more fun matches of the evening, as it is a tag team match. I was going to say show stealer, but I don't know. They had quite a bit of good matches on this one, but I think for everything that happened during this match and how fun it was, and yeah, it was Joey like, oh, I got 4 competitors I could cause chaos with. Watch this. And it was fun. Los Macizos teaming up going against Cole Radrick and Joey Janela, which I thought was another little interesting tag team for Cole Radrick. As he teamed with Jordan in Japan, which I thought was cool seeing, and I think it's cool seeing Cole and Joey Janela as it's the 2 extreme title holders for their respective companies teaming together, going against the brothers of Los Macizos. And yeah, this was fun. A lot of crazy fuckery, a lot of chaos, typical Joey match. But you add in the chaoticness of Los Macizos, and the Ratty Daddy, who we never know what he's going to do. So this was a very fun match. What was your thoughts on this match?
So I'd written down that Macisos is so good at picking entrance music. It was something in Spanish. I freaking love the song. Janela had a new haircut. Speaking of haircuts, someone's looking sharp. I got to mention it. A point fan, Scott, got thrown into a wrestler.
I didn't know that was him at first until he posted on Twitter yesterday. I was like, oh, that was him. That was awesome.
Yeah, and he was wearing all black, so it was hard to see him at first, especially with all those wrestlers around. And yeah, I saw his post on Twitter, and I'm like, oh shit, that was him, dude. I thought that was really cool.
Yes.
And it was solidified when Emil said, hey, is that Scott? I think he said he threw Scott into him, something like that. Joey was the first one to bleed in this match. A door was thrown on top of his head. You can almost see it bounce when it hit his head. I was noticing again how Ciclope always fights in like a long sleeve hoodie. I just always find that so funny because I'd be hot as shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on, would you?
Yeah, how he does that and the headphones is pretty impressive to me.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, I'd be sweating my ass off out there. Miedo leaves to pop his shoulder back in place, comes back in, and decides to keep kicking ass out after that. I just wanted to mention the dude is tough as fuck. He was legit working with one arm for well over half of this match. Then Janela yells, bring it out. And people are like, what in the hell? Okay. Out comes the fucking scissor lift. People start going, what the fuck? What the fuck? And of course, this thing goes all the way up with Janela on it. And I mean, it's a beautiful shot from the hard camera angle because you can see Joey all the way up there on the right side. And you see Ciclope all the way down there laying on the mat. And no shit, Janela jumps off of that scissor lift and he fucking hit Ciclope with this awesome it almost looked like an elbow. It was obviously a splash, but it looked almost like an elbow at one point there. But it looks like Joey got a bruise on his eye, and he even posted online where his sides were all fucked up from that. Yeah, the only other thing I'd mention is that Joey was speared through a door directly into a 450 splash. So Joey earning that paycheck tonight. No shit.
Yeah, this had chaos all over it. This was fun. Miedo, yeah, that's the one point I wanted to bring up. Like, he popped his shoulder. You can see he was trying to work. I forgot how he popped it. Maybe he landed on I forgot if he landed on a door wrong or something like that. But you could tell he did hurt his shoulder pretty bad. And he's like, even to the ref, like, hey, it's out. Like, and you see him just like he goes to the back and like, hey, we all thought he was done. Like, I thought, hey, we're gonna wrap this match up. Ciclope is gonna lose. It's done and over with. But he just, within a matter of like a minute, he just went to the back, opted in, came back outside, and then right away lifted Joey Janela up into a power bomb after just popping his shoulder less than a minute ago back into place, which I thought the Los Macizos, I know I talk about them so much on here, but every single time they just find some way to kind of blow my mind with their toughness, their creativeness, how fun they are, how entertaining they are in commentary.
Yeah.
The crazy death matches. Like, there's always something new with them. And seeing Ciclope just kind of battle through that. And then still he wrestled even the next night with his shoulder kind of dislocated still, or popped back into place. But who knows? Like, it takes a few weeks.
You know how that is.
Yeah.
The extension fucks up all the muscles and all the tendons and shit. Like, he's going to be feeling that for a long time. That motherfucker's on ice for a while.
Yeah, when I popped my shoulder out of place one time playing basketball, and I was at a rec center, and there was no nurse, or there was a nurse there, but no like doctor, none of that stuff. But you had to have, for the rec center, at least a nurse on thing just in case something happens. Like my dumbass dislocated my shoulder, and like just when they popped it back into place, hurt 1,000 times more than when I originally heard it. Because when I heard it, it just felt like, ooh, I can't lift it. It feels weird. Like, it's kind of sore. But once I popped it back into place, that hurt tremendously. And seeing him coming back out after that, I was like, nope, that was me. I'd have been done. I've been halfway to the hospital now. And for me, I couldn't lift up my shoulder again for a week. I was playing baseball at that time and basketball, and I couldn't do any of those sports for like a month. Not a week, a month.
Wow.
And him to come back out and do a power bomb after doing that was insane. Then once I saw the scissor lift come out and how high Joey got, I actually didn't think he was going to make it. He was on he had to go about 3/4 across the ring to get to Ciclope, because I thought right away, I was like, I'm telling my wife, like, he ain't going to make it. he ain't gonna make it. We're gonna have an AJ Gray moment here. Like I was legit scared. I was like this, that's far, and there's like not like he could get a running start onto it. Like it was like maybe 3 feet wide. I don't know how big it was, 5 feet, but he just had to jump in.
Oh, it was not wide.
Yeah.
No.
And I loved how you said the hard cam. I loved that part until the time for impact, and then they went like right into the Ciclope close up where Joey landed on him. I wanted to see that from the hard cam.
Split screen.
Yeah, replay. The hard cam replay only, or the hard cam only replay, because I wanted to see the distance, because we didn't really ever saw it. I think someone on Twitter posted like a fan version or fan clip that was kind of like right there where the hard cam was. So I saw it that way. That was way more impressive. But
yeah, way more. You're right.
Joey
it's
crashed.
A great point.
That landing like had to just destroy Joey's hip and shoulder. Like I thought maybe he popped his shoulder out of place just the way he landed on it. I
thought it was over.
Yeah,
I thought it was over because Janela and Cole are champions.
Yep.
I thought, these guys are champions. They're going to put their champions over Los Macizos.
Yeah, same thing. And then especially with Medio getting hurt pretty early on, I was like, I thought for sure like it was going to be a Cole Radrick, Joey Janela kind of a cool victory. But Los Macizos do pick up the victory as they do a roll up onto Cole. I love that 450 or that spear into the 450 spot. I thought that was tremendous.
God,
I love the smoothness of it all. And I just don't know how Medio just kept on fighting through that shoulder pain or shoulder injury, because it was pretty bad. And this match just was chaos. Like if you want to just see total fuckery in a match, and we will kind of go on after the match too. This was fun. This was like I wanted announcing this match at the beginning. I wanted to say, in my opinion, the best match of the night. Not quite, but it is up there as the most entertaining because I loved every bit of this match.
So I was wondering, when I think about all these things that Janela does, I'm like, well, maybe he's genius, or maybe he's just calling it off the fly. And because we've never seen it before, we find it fantastic. I don't know which one it is, but it is entertaining. It's going to be hard for us to forget a scissor lift spot. I don't know. Janela and Cole started battling after this, and that shit looked like a real fight for just a small second when it went into because he looked like he was giving soft punches to Cole there on the chin and in the head there for a while. And then when he grabbed a hold of Janela and they go into the crowd for a minute, I'm watching the punches and I'm like, man, these guys are making it look really good.
They were connecting too. Yeah, I thought the same way. I'm like, oh shit, like there's supposed to be storytelling, but I think they're taking a little advantage of each other and kind of giving each other good old stiff 1-2 punches, because how the even got to the quick pinfall was Joey Janela had Ciclope ready to take the Cole Radrick when he does the bottom rope springboard into the kind of cutter move. Ciclope threw Joey Janela in front of or behind Cole and switched spots, and Cole didn't realize it, still delivered the stunner to Janela. Came up, was like, oh shit, I did it to the wrong person, and Ciclope got the roll up. So then how they started fighting, as you said, I thought, oh cool, we're going to get Extreme versus Extreme title, which we do get the next night. And I didn't expect them to break down like that though. And at first I was like, okay, it's kind of planned. But as you said, once I think kind of Joey maybe connected one little bit too hard.
They were soft punches. And I think, okay, if it was real, they were soft punches, and Cole was like, that's a little much.
Well,
if it was played, it was well played, and kudos to both of them for making it look so fantastic. We have to talk about it to figure it out. Great blurred line.
Yeah, and I think why I'm going to that point, because I was going to make my point right there, is the last time I think Cole Radrick kind of got into something like this was with Nick Gage. And Nick Gage actually knocked him out cold. So I thought maybe Cole Radrick was like feeling like maybe Joey's going a little too tough, and he learned his lesson from Nick Gage. And he's like, no, you ain't going to hit me like that. I learned my lesson. I stuck up to the king. I'll stick up to you too. And I loved the fight in him. Like, it was cool seeing the fight of Cole Radrick going against Joey Janela. It was like, nope, you ain't messing with me. You are one Extreme champion. I'm another. Wow. I'm not the little kid no more that you guys used to treat me as. Like, I'm here and I'm here to stay. You can't treat me like I'm beneath you. I'm right there with you on title wise, right there with you. But I loved it. Yeah, even the ending. I loved seeing what's that's going to look like night 2. As I don't think they announced it night 2. Maybe I missed that too, but seeing Cole versus Janela Extreme title versus Extreme title was going to be very fun to watch. And yeah, this for the 5th match of the night, I was like, oh my God, we still got like 3 more matches to go. And
oh yeah,
that match kind of at that moment lifted my spirits up, got my excitement super into it to kind of see what was next. And of course, I would be getting excited for the next match, as it is Jonathan Gresham going against the East Coast ace, Jordan Oliver. And yes, I was all in on this one. This was matchup. As soon as it was announced, I kind of like popped and yelped out like a little dog that got stepped on. I was like, whoa, Gresham, Jordan, like, let's go. Let's see these two go, because the way that Jordan's been going, the way Gresham's, nice seeing him back in the GCW ring wrestling more. I was thinking maybe big plans were in place for Jordan with this match, or maybe even Gresham, if he picks up a couple victories, maybe he could kind of insert himself into the title picture here, since, that was the next night. Kind of other people just decided to insert themselves. But I was very much looking forward to this. And by this time, it is super nighttime. And seeing the kind of the riverboat in the background of the pier kind of going across during Gresham's entrance was awesome seeing, in my opinion. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to tell everyone who listens, which I just found out, we have almost everyone listening we have someone listening at least on every continent but Australia and Antarctica, I believe. So if we hit Antarctica before Australia, we did something wrong. I was really interested in this one because the mismatch. So Jordan kind of towers over Gresham in this situation. So I was curious about that. We knew that Gresham was going to kind of get the booze. Jordan's the favorite here. And I'm with you. I'm really happy to see Gresham over here more. I want to see Gresham versus Deppen. I think that would be a fantastic little match. Maybe give him a best of 3.
I would love that. That's a good one. I was thinking Gresham Leo, but I was like, you said Tony. I was like, good one. Yeah, that's a good one. That would be fun.
I'd put those two together as a best of 3 and maybe have the match number 3 at something important. Gresham got the best of Oliver for a good chunk of this one for sure. He was the most of the offense. It was still a lot of back and forth, but I'm talking 65% of the time we had Jordan on the ground dealing with something that Gresham gave him. Holds, chops, kicks, punches. Honestly, not much outside of those things really stands out as worth mentioning. And I don't want to say that in a bad way. It's just here we are again, where they had a fantastic back and forth with, I don't want to say basic moves, but they had more of a basic fight, as more wrestling sometimes should be. And it just wasn't anything to mention in there. But I don't want to discount a 10-minute match at all. It was fantastic, but at the end it did pick up a lot. There was a flurry of moves from both men, but yeah, this was old school. Even Jordan primarily stayed on the ground in this one. I noticed.
Yep, that was going to be my statement, where I kind of loved seeing that part, because Jordan doesn't quite often, other than like when he's doing his submission moves, show his groundwork and how kind of fluid he is with the transitions and everything. And we obviously know Gresham's one of the best, if not the best in the world as a technical wrestler on the ground. I wanted to see Jordan kind of elevate his game on the ground during this match and kind of see the evolution, because I loved how when they played off him learning the Boston Crab and not learning it, but mastering it, stuff like that. I thought this would be a cool little match to maybe show off a surprise little submission that Jordan has learned and has been training on, because against Gresham, you're going to need to pull out your bag of tricks. And if you don't go, as you said, there wasn't really any quote unquote spots during this match. It was just cool back and forth striking, technical on the ground. We didn't really see Jordan go high flying. Gresham, I think, did his kind of like lion salt onto Jordan off the middle rope on the inside, but as we didn't see the high flying and quickness from Jordan as we typically do, as it's like go go go. It was more stretched out, literally on the ground. They're all both getting stretched out. But I didn't mind seeing that, because I wanted to see the growth of Jordan's game on the ground and seeing the wizardry that the octopus, I should say, from Jonathan Gresham on the ground, and seeing how those two would kind of tell the story throughout this match was awesome seeing. The one big, it's not even a spot, but Gresham holding the blade vertical suplex on Jordan was quite a sight to see. Just because, as you said, the size difference. I don't think I've seen a suplex done like that, a delayed suplex where you get to actually see the height difference from an inverted person that's being carried by a person on the ground. I thought that was a cool visual too. Like my wife even goes like, he can't hold him for that long. I was like, watch, and he held him for quite a few seconds. And
yeah, surprising.
yeah, like because she just said that just based off of the height differences and stuff like that. And yeah, this was a fun match. I was kind of hoping for a little bit longer, a little bit more spot match during the match, but following what just happened, I kind of don't mind what was told. Is once again, can't keep the crowd going up and up and up, and then by the time the main event comes, they're going to be on their way down. I thought this was kind of a good little peak and valley where you just got crazy chaos. And let's tell a quick little fun story, but with two great
real wrestling.
Yes, in the ring, tell a different story as Tony and Yamato did with technical, it's in-ring technical ability. So I thought this was great. I would like to see these two run it back and maybe get a little bit more time and kind of tell a bigger, better story. But I was pleased with this.
I think Jordan stood to gain a lot from this match in the way of experience. I think that's something that he's going to be able to take away, as he was able to wrestle a really good technical wrestler. And I think he can now try to just put that in the memory banks and try to use that later. I have to come back to my opinion. I like to come back to this one, but I believe strongly in it. I think that it would be cool to see Gresham change from the strongman to more of an underdog style character. And I can only say this with him because there's not a lot of people that can pull this off, but he is the Rey Mysterio type where he has a build that could be used and he has the skills, he has the strength. Honestly, with all those impressive things that he could do, if he could space those out and be that underdog, the minute he puts up that big guy and he has him up in the air for 2-3 seconds, it's going to be so much more impactful when he's coming in from behind and it's towards the end of the match and he's got this motherfucker up in the air. Like, I'm thinking of it that way.
It'd be kind of like a Hulk Andre situation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It could be a situation where he chops a motherfucker down instead of his punch is just as strong as the other guy's. Now, he needs to chop a guy down, and we've talked about this before. And I think it would be cool that the minute they get to his level, it's fucking lights out. And it would just be, unfortunately, but it's a rabid Wolverine, dude. It's like, literally, it's like you get to the ground and you better get the fuck up quickly, because if you're at that level, you're fucked. I think that would be so cool. And I also think that he has it in him to be looked at like somebody sympathetic, like some asshole comes out and fucks with him because he's bigger than him. And Gresham goes, fuck that. And that's where some of these power moves that he is just so fantastic at would be more impactful story-wise. Yeah. Just an idea, and it's not like it has to be a full-on change, but I think for one match or one series, it would be so cool to book him that way.
Yeah, it's kind of tough with him. Like, he's pretty much, for the most part, a heel. I kind of like how he does some of the heel work in the ring with like playing to the crowd, making kind of the opponent look stupid when sometimes he does like the fake kicks and the wrestler goes to block it. He does like the na boo boo, got him, kicking him in the leg. Like, I like Gresham as the heel and stuff like that too. But as you said, I think there could be a great story told with him as a face. I just kind of like with Leo. I just kind of hope they stick around for a little bit or show up a little bit more.
Yeah, please.
GCW, because I get so much more excited seeing Leo Rush on a card and seeing a Leo Rush match, seeing a Gresham match. I get excited for those two. Those two are like up there with me where you announce them and pretty much whatever the rest of the card is, it doesn't matter. I will go out of my way to watch it or go attend to, like, Leo Rush was the reason I got into GCW. Like, as weird as it sounds, I went to the GCW show because of Leo Rush, and I didn't really watch other GCW shows other than the Fight Forever on YouTube for free, the 24-hour show. So I was like, yeah, sure. You know what? This is my first wrestling event after the pandemic. Seems like it's going to be nice and safe. Looks pretty fun. Let me go check it out. The night before the show, the Nick Gage Dark Side of the Ring came out, so I got to really learn more about GCW. So, literally that night, I'm like after I watched it, like trying to go to bed, I was like excited. Like, oh my God, I'm going to see fucking violence. I'm going to see unexpectedness. And I didn't think it would be anything like what I saw, but it was obviously fantastic. And I'm a fan now.
It was love at first sight.
It was crazy. But I mean, seeing Leo Rush wrestle is so awesome. Gresham, so awesome. I would like to, we always talk about, hey, now's the chance to do it while they're both wrestling. Put them both against each other right now and just kind of see, give them 20 minutes. Let them tell a great match, great story. and take advantage of it, because who knows if we're going to ever get these two on a card again. You just never know, which is, it's all right. The wrestlers need to take care of what they need to. I just think they should capitalize on this, because that is one kind of dream match now. Talking it out loud is one of my newer dream matches I definitely want to see in a GCW ring.
And our winner ended up being Jonathan Gresham, knockout with a forearm punch off the ropes. 10-minute match. Crowd did not like that Jordan lost. There were some boos overall, but at the end there was a handshake. The fans clapped and they appreciated that Gresham was there. But as he was leaving, fans appreciated it. But in the ring, they weren't loving him at all for what he was doing to our boy.
Yeah, and I know we were going to end this, but I did come up with one thing real fast. I kind of like how this match ended with that knockout, because it just seemed like it was out of left field. It wasn't typical finisher. Yeah. And as we've been kind of talking with Jordan lately, where it seems like lately when he's been winning these matches, he's been kind of changing whatever, ending the match based off of whatever moves. It hasn't been just always the clout cutter or orange crush. I wish he would bring that more. I kind of miss the old orange crush, but
the orange crush.
Yeah, he's been doing the Yakuza kick, the Boston Crab. So I kind of like how Gresham as well has been finishing wrestlers with different moves and not just always the same finisher all the time. So I like that kind of duality between these two throughout this match, because that made it seem like, hey, if it ever happens again, like who knows when the match is going to end, or like, hey, did he catch him?
Unpredictability.
Exactly. Where, oh my God, 5 minutes in, he caught him with that same forearm. Is it going to be over in 5 minutes kind of thing? So I definitely like the ending, and hopefully we get to see these two run it back another time for a longer duration match. And that will lead us into our 7th matchup of the evening, as Drew Parker teams with Rina Yamashita going against Alex Colon, and as we found out, a mystery partner. John Wayne Murdoch, we kind of talked about all the punishment he received in Liverpool and Japan. It unfortunately did seem to catch up with him, as he did not wrestle on Fight Club Night 1. So Alex Colon had to dig into his bag of tricks. They kind of teased where everybody would like the replacement. They're very well known. And I kind of right away, as Alex Colon was kind of giving his little speech beforehand, I was like, it's got to be. And it was the Bulldozer, Matt Tremont, which I love seeing him I always love seeing him in AC, because the crowd just eats him up no matter what. And
bulldozer chance, dude. Lots of bulldozer chance.
Yeah, he definitely is loved there, and definitely got a huge reaction for being the surprise tag team partner for Alex Colon. And in my eyes, this is kind of probably for me the match of the night. I loved all the violence. I loved the beginning of introducing a surprise. Like, you never know what it's actually going to be as a surprise in GCW. You just never know what they're going to pull out. Obviously, with the already 3 competitors announced, I thought it was going to go deathmatch person, but I was kind of thinking maybe it could be Akira or something like that, because Akira kind of plays into the whole John Wayne Murdoch and Alex Colon storyline. But the more Alex Colon talks, I'm like, yeah, we're getting the Bulldozer, and I am happy. This was violent. This was fun. What was your thoughts on this?
Rena can't help but smile. I think Rena is probably one of the happiest people to be performing at GCW. She loves this. I fucking love this. It's so nice.
Did you see her reaction when Tremont come out?
No.
She popped in the ring as Tremont came out. So as you said, and she's loving being in GCW. Like, as you said, like, it just feels so wholesome having her there and seeing the enjoyment that she has. She feels like it's one of us enjoying the show, but she's actually a part of the show. So it's kind of cool seeing her having fun doing all that kind of stuff.
She smiles like we do.
Yeah.
That's what it is. She's just having as much fun as we are. And when we see that out of the performer, it's just a connection, because we're connecting. We have that same emotion going on. The crowd was loving all 4 performers in this match. Performers. Man, I can't talk. So I'm going to go ahead and do the old bullet boom boom here we go thing, because we have 14 minutes here, and I'm going to give my best rundown that I can to show how fucking violent this was. So here we go. Minute number 1, there were tubes out. Spooky glass looks good outside at night. I wanted to mention that because it has that black background, so you can see that amazing powder that just kind of fills the air. It's fantastic. Minute 2, Tremont, double dusty elbows. I know there's probably another name that he uses for it, but at my age, it's the dusty double elbows. Colon gave Rena light tube horns, which was fantastic. Minute 3, Rena gets cut by Colon on different sides of the ring. He kept going to all the other sides. We know how that is. Now it's Tremont's turn to cut Rena, and he starts cutting Rena. Minute 4, Tremont starts yelling, GC fucking W, like Braveheart style. It was fantastic. And we start hearing from the crowd, you sick fuck, you sick fuck. Rena does a Russian leg sweep to Tremont. Cologne and herself all at one time go back first into light tubes. Minute 6, Cologne knees a tube bundle into Parker's chest. It was fucking vicious. Minute 7, Tremont's yelling, hit me, motherfucker. And minute 8, Tremont hits a sit-down powerbomb on Rena. Minute 9, Rena and Parker start hitting each other with tubes. Rena starts eating tubes. Basically, they're just getting each other hyped up because it was time. They were just ready to start kicking ass. And it was basically Parker kicking Rena's her ass back in gear. Tremont gets a bunch of tubes busted on him, including bundles. This was part of that whole Hulk out that they both had. In minute 10, I wanted to mention, because I love mentioning, that we got a three-peat chant. I believe that Cologne at this level deserves every bit of respect he has. I wish some of the other wrestlers would get chants too, but three-peat is fucking awesome. Minute 11, painted glass starts coming out. Minute 12, Tremont's on the top rope. Rena goes up. She suplexes Tremont directly through that pane of glass. It looked absolutely amazing. Minute 13, Rena double claws to Tremont's balls. It was nasty. She started with one hand, and he's like, yeah, whatever. She goes with two hands. She puts on the fucking G.I. Joe Kung Fu grip, and it was lights out. Minute 14, there was a huge bundle placed over Tremont, which gave us our finish, where Parker and Yamashita pulled out the win. There was a big splash off the top rope onto Tremont. 14 and a half minutes of pure fuckery. It was fantastic. That was a fucking death match.
Yes, this was my favorite match of the night, just because all four competitors and the violence, and they kind of did, Drew Parker and Rena kind of did the little old school traditional tag match where they were tagging in and out parts during this match. But as we talked about last time, it's kind of refreshing to see, and kind of nice to see them do it out here in the States in a GCW, more rules and stuff like that. So this was a fun match. I loved Matt Tremont's face once Rena grabbed the first time, and Matt's like, you need more than that, honey. And then he got the second one, you just see him like, oh, like his facial reaction was hysterical during that. And I loved, I think MLJ was on commentary during this match. As I said, I couldn't tell if it was him or Nick Knowledge, to be honest with you, but I think it was MLJ calling back to the Parker hitting Rena and, like, kind of, as you said, hulking her up. And they shouted out, it's like Randy Savage or giving the elbow to Hulk Hogan to ram him up. And they said Clash of Champions, because I was at that show, and I actually just talked about that spot a couple months ago to a friend. And I was like, dude, I was like 8, 7 when that match happened, 9 maybe. And that's a spot that will live with me forever, because I was, as a kid, I'm like, and I started off that Clash of Champions way up top, and then I end up by the main event. Security guard let me and my mother go down to the front row because they just saw like I was kind of enjoying it. So they kind of stuck us in front row for the main event, and seeing it happen right in front of my face. As a kid, I was like almost about to start crying. I'm like, wow, what Macho Man? Why? And then Hulk getting up. I'm like,
really?
Yeah. So
you got to see Hulk live.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw him a couple times
shit.
live.
That's cool. That's so cool.
That's a spot that will live rent free in my head forever and ever, because I think you remember like the My Little Wrestling Buddies that they used to have. I used to have all of them and wrestle all over the place with them. And then my uncle was a couple years older than me, but I was like in first grade at this time when those were out. And I used to wrestle like with those. And we kind of, when we did our fake matches in the living room, that was kind of a spot we always did where like, you move the referee out of the way, then it looks like you're turning on your partner, but it really helps your partner out. So I love that whoever, if it was Nick Knowledge or MLJ, loved calling that spot out, because I thought of that spot right away too. And as like when Jordan called the spot against Alley Catch and Joey Janela, I just go right to those spots. And I loved hearing that because it put me in a put me in an old school kind of frame of mind, seeing the Rena and Drew kind of hit each other with the light tubes to hook each other up. Fun spot in a very entertaining and violent match. And yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about this match at all.
Nope.
I love Tremont just fitting right in. And that's just a big as name as it would have been if it was John Wayne Murdoch, because these are four either legends, and Matt Tremont and Cologne been up and comers that are just absolutely killing the game, and Drew Parker and Rena in the deathmatch scene. So this was fantastic. I loved it, and I would want to see these four go at it some way, somehow again.
You know, and everyone kind of showed tough love to each other at the end of this. We had the old birds flying, the middle finger salutes. So everybody, this whole fucking thing was awesome. The fans were having a good time, and everybody worked their ass off, and they keep moving these same 5-6 people around and putting them in different matches together, and each and every one of them are coming out fantastic every time
and different, which is like, it's kind of
every time. Yeah.
Once we kind of, when you told me about the DLC match, I'm like, my first initial reaction is like, again, like I want to see it move on. I want to see different matchups. But then when it happens, I'm like, yeah, give me that one again, please. Let's go. Feed me more. I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I loved it. And as you said, I love how they're always so entertaining and never miss. Like, it's just been incredible. And once again, we need Drew Parker and Yamashita out here on a more frequent and regular basis, because if you add like those two, I think just to their just in general roster, man, they could do a lot of stuff with the deathmatch scene. And not that they've been doing anything bad, it just I think would be so incredible seeing Parker and Yamashita go against Ciclope and Medio a little bit more throughout the weeks and months and shows and stuff like that. I think it would be awesome seeing the different variations of matches that these competitors can have with each other.
Well, you were also talking about the fact that it's international competition, but I mean, even if they were American, both of them, 2 words, instant upgrades.
Yeah,
instant upgrades to our division.
Yeah, I've said, like, right now, if you ask me who like I think is the best deathmatch wrestler right now, like this very second, I'd have to say Drew Parker. I think overall in GCW, Alex Colon, you add in Tremont, one of the freaking legends of deathmatch wrestling, and throw in Yamashita as a up-and-comer who's breaking barriers in Japan, breaking barriers in GCW, becoming the first, I think they announced the first female deathmatch champion, maybe not in the States, but for GCW at least, and her kind of having that kind of moments and the rise to stardom that she's had and how over she's gotten in such a not short period of time, but with the AC crowd, it's those four just right the way, 4 incredible deathmatch wrestlers, and not deathmatch wrestlers, just wrestlers in general, but mostly cutting their teeth in the death matches, and it's always been fun and entertaining. As you said, instant upgrade. You add those two, like it would just be mind-boggling the stuff we could see over these next couple months, and hopefully we will get them more. And I very much looking forward to see them hopefully back in a GCW ring after Fight Club weekend. Did we announce the winner? I forgot. Did we not?
Yeah, I did it when we did the rundown. I just went bam, 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 bam. So yeah, normally you're not seeing like this. Just was more. I just floated through. So
it was fun.
Plus, it was a 14-minute match. There
was a lot of stuff going on in that 14 minutes. Very fun, entertaining. 7th matchup of the evening. And
let's run it again.
Yeah, like I said, like I'm all for that. Let's run it again. I love what they did the next night with some other different competitors. That's the shit you could feed me way more to. Going into our 8th matchup of the evening, which is kind of the co-main event, even though it wasn't announced it. We have Effie going against Shota. And Shota, another competitor I've never seen before, didn't know what to expect. I still kind of don't know what to expect from Shota. We didn't really see much of him duration-wise of what he could do in a ring during this match, because this was a very, very short match. But seeing kind of Effie going against a competitor I've never seen before, I wanted to see how they would react to Effie's shenanigans and in-ring style. And yeah, this was for the match before the main event. I don't mind it. I understand why it's short, but I kind of wish it would have been longer. Pretty fun show, or pretty fun match for this main event. Sorry. I had a brain freeze there. What was your thoughts on this match, John?
So Shota to me looked like he just walked out of Top Gun, because he had that outfit, that full-on body military outfit. He is quick and smooth with his movements. That's the one thing I wanted to say. If anyone goes back and looks, you can see he's damn quick, and everything he does has a smoothness to it. Effie's tarantula variation, I'm noticing, has now become more of his go-to moveset recently. And I was mentioning before on previous episodes where I really like that move, so it's really cool. And it would be really fun if he grabs those legs and goes full tarantula on some of these guys. If it is a problem with them touching, have them put their legs on top of the third, that bottom rope, and then pull their legs from there. Yeah. And you can do it that way. And all they have to do is push their shins down, and that would support their weight on that bottom rope. Anyway, Effie did a blurb in his tummy, like into a suplex. He was like treating him like a baby, and he was rolling him over and trying to spank him. And it was nice to see even the little tummy thing. It's different because we don't see it often. That's the kind of thing I like with Effie, is when he pulls out things every so often. Yep. It just makes it more fun and funnier. I'm also a big fan of Under the Rainbow. I have to say that 100 times. It's just a cool little move. And the last thing I want to say is when Shota's allowed, he is a damn good wrestler. He's another one where I would put him in a scramble, but I'm with you. I need to see more of him. 4.5 minutes would be a bullshit way to just judge him overall. But the 4.5 minutes I seen were fantastic.
Yes, as you said, I do definitely want to see more of Shota. When you said allowed to breathe, he's a good wrestler. I was thinking I think the same way about Effie. Like if he needs to go when it's time to go, he's been doing very, very good lately. I've been enjoying all his matches, like with the comedy, without the comedy. I've been enjoying it because when it's gotten down to in-ring action, it's been very good, and the comedy spots are sometimes hitting, sometimes missing, but it's Effie. It's Effie. Definitely don't want to see Effie change too much, but when he does come down to when it's time to go, he's absolutely phenomenal in the ring, and I enjoy watching him go when it's time to. But yeah, this match, they didn't really have time to go. They didn't really get to see what Effie and Shota are really made of. We kind of just got like a little appetizer because the main event coming up after that, but I thought it was still a pretty short match, even if it was the kind of the last match before the main event. I thought it could be given a little bit more time, just so that way for my first time seeing Shota, I don't know what to think of him because it's short. So I would like to see him for his first match, kind of show the crowd what he has, kind of like what Yamamoto got, kind of what Skywalker got. I kind of felt like he got the short end in the stick here.
Wondered if maybe he was injured. Maybe he just got a little injury and they go, you know what, let's wrap it up, guys. Yeah. Because even that's really short for a match for Effie. But again, it may be a time issue. Yeah. So you never know.
And the winner of this match is Effie as he hits Shota with the Sack Rider for the victory. Quick 4-minute match, but Effie does pick up a win. See where Effie goes from. That will lead us into the main event of the Idol versus Career, as the GCW World Champion Jon Moxley defends the belt against Nick Gage. And yeah, I want to, just before, even before the match started, the news that came out the day before with AEW kind of holding the rights to Moxley a little bit closer to the chest. Not going to let him kind of go out and do what he kind of has been doing lately with the indies. That right there kind of ruined the outcome for me. Just based off kind of what I read and saw, I thought for sure because of all that, Nick Gage would win. But in my back of my mind, it's also Jon fucking Moxley, and you're not going to tell him who he can and can't wrestle for, is what I kind of always got from Moxley. But yeah. It's fine at this point in time. Maybe he's had his fun. He's done what he's... Because every time we see him in GCW, he's having fun. He's enjoying what he's doing. He obviously enjoys coming back. He wouldn't have come back if he didn't want to, because he's the freaking world champion of AEW. So he's not going to be forced into doing stuff because he needs the money or anything else. He's doing it for the love of wrestling and independent wrestling. And so I didn't know what to kind of expect. I was still kind of 50-50, but that news kind of did lead me more towards Gage. But yeah, what was your thoughts on this?
You ready?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to warn everybody right now. We've got heel John Wolf coming because I am going to try to give my true opinion of what went on. I can't sit here and just go great, great, great if there are parts that aren't. And I would think that would be inauthentic, and I would have no reason to be here on a podcast, just sit here and kiss ass for free. So I want to make sure I say that ahead of time. So heel John. I honestly don't blame Tony Khan for wanting to keep him out of GCW. Although it's nice for the GCW fans and Moxley, I mean, personally, you and me, I don't know your opinion, but I'm guessing you may agree that for us, it is nice to see him. It's a treat. But I don't think there's much professional upside for Moxley on this one. If he gets injured in a match with somebody that he only drew 8,000, 10,000, I don't know, maybe let's just say $25,000, $20,000 for, I mean, that what happens when he has to cancel a match that was at a house that had a gate of 850 and pay-per-view buys in the 30, 40, 50, 100, well, actually more like the 200,000 or plus range. So, I mean, it does make sense to not go outside and play backyard football with the neighbor kids if you're being looked at by USC in your senior year of high school. So I'm just saying that makes sense. And I wanted to put that out there because I 100% agree that it is fantastic to see him. I hope that in his contract, he has something that says he can have some case by case basis. If he works with Brett Lauderdale and, you know, they kind of all work together to agree that this is something that, you know, works, that's perfectly fine, because I know that with the wheels kicked off, Khan will let him go, and he will go. I mean, he will get all bloodied. He has been injured before. So I do have some fear of that. And it does make good business sense. This isn't just a fan thing, because as a mark, as a this or that, I'd go, oh, fuck yeah, go, go, go. But as a business, you're taking a fucking Bugatti and you're driving it through one of the most dangerous parts of town. And here's all these potholes. And you're like, well, I may hit him, I may not, but the potential is there. And so I understand that from an investment perspective, that's just, there we go with John Heel. That's just me being the anti. But
everything
I think
you said there is 1,000% true. It is what it is. Like I selfishly, as you said, I don't mind seeing Moxley. I just don't like seeing him the champ because we don't see him as often. But if he's not the champ and he shows up once, twice, 3 times a year as a surprise, I am all for it. I love it. I will not complain. And I think also with the Moxley kind of having the kid now and making the lifestyle changes that he's kind of had to make he chose to make and did make, I think it's kind of like him, like, hey, I've had my fun. I did what I wanted to do. I did something that I probably never thought I'd be going back and doing after his run in WWE. I just think now he's probably like, hey, I'm making a lot more money, got a bigger extension. I am I got a lot more responsibilities now.
Yeah, got a kid, got the whole thing.
Exactly. And being the champion of AEW, as you said, with the $1 million gates that they've been drawing lately, and they've been kind of hurt by either injury or backstage drama. They've been kind of
ticket
hurting.
Loss.
Yeah,
huge ticket loss.
Yeah, they've been hurting with one of their top superstars, and to lose another one in this short amount of time, I agree with it too. That's what kind of blew me away last year, because when they fought last year, the bell didn't even ring yet, and Moxie's already busted open in the face as MLJ is given the entrance to Nick Gage, and because Nick Gage threw the bundle of light tubes at him before the match even started, and Moxie didn't get any hands up. He just took it right to the face, and right away, you could tell, like, hey, it's not someone taking little pieces of tubes and cutting themselves. He just stood there, took it, and right away, blood's dripping down his face. And I thought then, I'm like, wow, I'm surprised like Tony Khan's letting him do that and kind of stuff.
Yep.
So for what we've been able to kind of get away with, and been lucky to avoid any injuries or situations like this, I am very grateful for the stuff that Moxley has done for GCW and independent wrestling just in general. I thought like one of his first shows that he showed up to was a local show out here in FSW once he got released as a kind of surprise entrance. So I thought like, I know he loves doing it, but I think at this time, maybe he just kind of like, hey, time to move on to the next step, or maybe it was forced upon him. Either way, it will be kind of different and kind of sad not seeing John Moxley on our screens a little bit more than we were used to because of that series. But even once again, before the match goes on, I know you have it in your notes, so I'll let you say it first, and I'll give you my opinions on that first part there.
Okay, well, before the match, I thought it was fan-fucking-tastic that someone brought a huge sign that says, "If Gage loses, we riot." And I have to say that for an ECW fan and an old school fan, I love art. That was fantastic to see.
Yep, I was right there with that. I loved seeing even Moxley kind of acknowledge it, look up at it, and kind of looked at the camera and gave it a little chuckle, and then kept on going. Like, I loved that sign. And there's only been like maybe 3 or 4 times I thought that would work. Obviously, the first time ever when RVD against Cena, but Cardona versus Joey, when it was perfect for Hammerstein. I loved seeing that up there on the second level because it was like very reminiscent of the first time we saw it. And this one I thought was very apropos too, because I was thinking legit maybe they would riot based off of the news that happened the night before, and they're seeing the ace of the company, Nick Gage, possibly for the last time ever, wrestle because of Moxley. I thought maybe with the AC crowd kind of starting to riot with Cardona, maybe would definitely start a riot with Moxley too. So like I said, I legit was still kind of 50-50 throughout this match of who was going to win and who wasn't.
So I think the fans kind of showed their hand of what they wanted, because we started getting new chants, and it was just beautiful to hear. On the mat, before this thing even starts, I'm seeing chairs, barbed wire boards, light tubes, and a hell of a lot more that I did not write down. Emil said he was a touch emotional, and I thought that was something that was just, I found it interesting. I really like that. So if he was, I think that makes sense, as he should be, because if you learn how to appreciate moments as you get older, I'm sure that was just a fantastic moment that he's going to hope to have.
Yeah, that comment.
Or remember.
Yeah, that comment on commentary, as well as all of the 2 days prior, with all the wrestlers, kind of felt like, hey, this might be Nick Gage's wrestling funeral, where they're all we're giving a memoriam, like, hey, he was there for me at this time, or he got me into GCW because of this. And I thought, he
was always nice to the neighbors. He was always good with our kids.
It felt like an in memoriam of Nick Gage's wrestling career. We're all just going to put it out on Twitter before the match even started. And then MLJ kind of making that comment. The storytelling that we've been asking for was all over this match.
Yes.
That's why I know we're going to get it. It's just, I got so invested in this match and enjoyed it, even though the in-ring work wasn't quite up to expectations or par. I was still so emotionally involved with this because of the awesome storytelling that was being done on social media before the match, with the videos, the signs, MLJ's little quip there. All the storytelling made it that much more enjoyable, and got me so much more invested than what I would have if I just would have watched the in-ring stuff. I would have been like, okay, I think we should have a very clear and easy winner here. Shouldn't be close. But everything else, that's the beauty of wrestling. There's not just one story to be told. There is multiple stories that we could told in different ways. And that's what made it very enjoyable for me.
And I thought it was really nice that Prazak said that Gage is now 30 pounds lighter. And that's not easy. So good for him. I know that he had gained a decent amount of weight, and he was trying to get that off. So anybody who's doing cardio and lifting weights, that muscle is heavier than fat, which means that they had to drop a shit ton of fat and then put that muscle back. So going 30 pounds down, doing cardio and any type of strength is just fantastic. Okay, don't say anything for just a second, because I want this to sink in. Are you ready?
Yes.
My favorite, I liked hearing this. That's all I'll say. Ready? Fuck Ohio. Hold on. I just wanted to say, I'm happy to hear that. There we go. I just wanted it to sink in without saying anything else. I really loved hearing that. It was really cool to hear. I am from Ohio also.
You can't say that while wearing an Ohio State shirt on your body right now. That's just blasphemy.
Oh my God.
Everyone that's listening to this show right now,
Nope. I'm from Michigan.
Oh, you are so gonna get ridiculed on this episode from
No. This is Heel Wolf.
You are fully on Tony Deppen. I don't know how. Maybe your family's and friends lovable asshole after this episode.
That's right. I am. See, it took a crazy fucking hail turn. This is it.
That's one of those ones that actually made sense with the fuck Ohio. Like, thank God it wasn't.
Yes.
Like, it was kind of cool because it kind of plays into the story of a certain group from Ohio that used to be involved when Moxley and Gage first kind of teamed up and started this whole story 2-3 years ago. So I liked how everything kind of came into place and revolved around everything that was going on during this.
So you know what else came into play? That fucking pizza cutter. 3 minutes in and we already got that damn thing out. I really wasn't looking forward to seeing that thing. Well, I'm always looking forward to seeing it. I really didn't think it was going to come out for at least 6-7 minutes. Man, no motherfucker was making pizza on his forehead in less than 4 minutes.
And how fast Moxley jumped out of that ring once he saw the pizza cutter and like touching his head. That's when he went into full heel mode for me. He's like, nope, hey, you guys heard that news yesterday. I'm worth millions. I ain't getting busted up here. I don't care if this is Nick Gage or not. Like, I am not getting my head cut. I can't. And that played into like how he went outside the ring, was like checking himself. I love how they kind of snuck that in there as well.
So this to me is the turning point of the match that I feel changes things. Now, I know you and I talked about this earlier, and you feel that you felt that Nick really like after he got to the ring, that entrance was just so high energy, it knocked him down a little bit just for a second. Like if a person has 6 gears, he was at 5 because there's always that extra gear. He was at 5 and it knocked him at a 4 for just a touch because that entrance was just so fucking hype. And so were the fans and so was he. So I'm sure this happened in the Flair match. Adrenaline can really fucking get you, man. It really can. And I wanted to mention that.
And I made a joke as Gage was coming out. I actually timed it and I was right. As bad as my kind of joke was supposed to be wrong, it was right. Last year, they went through Nick Gage's entrance twice. At the beginning, like it took so long for him last year to get to the ring where the music started again, and even MLJ goes, "This is the record for the longest entrance in GCW history." So once I heard the music happen during this match, I right away pulled out my phone. I was like, told my wife, like, all right, and I told her the whole story I just said. Like, and then last year it was this long. Let's see what happens today and see how long this one is. And sure as shit, it was over 5 minutes long, just the entrance alone. Which, as you said, adrenaline, especially for not. When was the last time we seen Nick Gage wrestle? April?
Right.
So
that's a good question.
Being out of the ring for that long and then kind of, I don't want to use what the words I'm saying in my head, but kind of waste all your energy right away at the beginning before the match even started. And once I saw him in the ring, like his facial expression to me looked different. He did look like he wasn't out of it, but like. He's like, oh shit, dude, I still got to wrestle this match. I had the same feeling when I saw X-Pac Sean Waltman make his entrance in LA, where he was shot tagging with Joey Janela. He's like, hey, Joey, you go in first. I'm done. Like I need a few minutes before the match even started. And I could see it easily happen for being out of the ring for as long as he has been and getting all that hard work and getting back into shape, where I right away was like, this doesn't look like the Nick Gage that has lost the 30 pounds, is back in shape and is going to put on a great performance. It seemed like right away he was spent, and for my opinion, I'll play heel too. I was not happy with the performance in this match. Just in general, I just felt like it did not need to go on. The way it started, it should have ended a lot earlier than what happened, because the in-ring action totally blew it for me.
Okay, so for me, this is the turning point of the match. Gage is outside, and he goes over by the ring there, and he picks up this huge bundle of tubes. And you can see him kind of hold it close to his chest because there were so many. And he kind of turns around and he walks towards the crowd, and he's like, I'm going to fuck him up. You know, it was typical Gage. Like, he's just like, all right, let's fucking do this. And that's what Gage is good for. And I say this is the turning point because Gage turns around and he's walking towards the ring, and he meets a baseball slide by Moxley, is the best way I think I can put it. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it was a baseball.
Baseball?
Yep.
Okay. So both of Moxley's boots go directly into like his chest and arm is what I can see from what I'm looking at. And my I may be hazy on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Yep, you're right on.
But he got fucking knocked down hard, and the tubes obviously busted all over him upon impact to that baseball slide. And it took a small amount of time, not a lot, but a small amount of time for him to get back up off the ground, unfortunately. And I even noticed when he was getting off the ground, if anybody looks at it, like he's shaking. You can see his hands visibly shaking. And even when he gets up off the ground, and this happens sometimes when you have somebody supporting your weight, you'll shake, when you're trying to get up off of the ground. It's a lot of weight to pull up on one arm. But in my opinion, that shot to the chest fucked him up for a while. I can tell you that he barely got into the ring, it seemed, and Mox was helping him get up and into the ring. Now I'm going to put this down here for a second because I want this to kind of be understood. At 4 minutes and 41 seconds into the match, he was pulled into the rings and light tubes were busted over his head. And when I mean pulled to the ring, I mean at 4:41, his ass was on the mat. So when Gage goes down, he's holding his arm, his right arm, a lot. It was just obvious he was holding that arm. So again, I can't tell if he fucking jammed his arm. I can't tell, but to me, it felt like he was winded or he got the wind not the wind knocked out of him, but I mean, a good kick to the fucking chest or stomach will take it out of you. I mean, anybody who's ever fought knows that. But Mox keeps coming over to fight Gage while he's sitting or laying on the ground. And you could see Mox is using several ground-based attacks to kind of keep the match going. There is a small break where he gets up from 8 minutes and 15 seconds to 8 minutes and 25 seconds. Gage is back on his feet and then goes back down within that little time window there. There's a lot of nothing that's going on at times. We're actually seeing a little time killing. Moxley's doing all the work. And at 10 minutes and 30 seconds, Mox picks Gage up off of the ground. And then finally, Gage starts getting offense in. So again, that's 10 minutes and 30 seconds into the match. Gage was on the ground for 5 minutes and 37 seconds. Now, again, you can do the math here, 4:41 and 10:30. That gives you about, 5:50 and whatnot. But I'm counting that 10 seconds or so out, and I'm giving it an extra 3 or so seconds just to kind of give it some play. 5 minutes and 37 seconds. It was just Gage on the ground. But at 12 minutes and 30 seconds, which is 2 minutes after he got off the ground, pizza cutter time again. So it was, Michelangelo doing his best out there. My observation, and I want to say this because this is the first time I've seen how Gage really does it. The cameras are too damn close and it shows the tricks. But it also shows when the person's going, and he's got the light tubes and he's not really cutting him. If you're going to get that close and you're going to do that to the crowd and show it to them, make a little poke. If you're going to sit there and drive into the right side of their forehead, at least when they pull away from you, make it at least a little red, because they're not on camera. They're picking up everything. And what it looks like is, well, it doesn't look effective. It looks fake. And so I just wanted to mention that because if that camera pulls tight on you professionally, you're going to have to step it up. If you're going to make it look like you're going to cut him, you're going to probably have to fucking cut him. That camera is right there and it catches everything. And I was watching exactly what Gage does, and I'd never seen that until that time. So, I mean, again, if you see that camera's too close, then you might want to make a little cut, because otherwise it doesn't look worth it and it looks a little too
and see,
heel wolf.
I like howling to the moon on this one.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
No, I like kind of going off what you said. I don't want to go too deep in the weeds on that because it's wrestling. It is what it is. And I feel the same way too.
He fucking got hurt,
Yeah, the first time I saw him, the way he did the pizza cutter, I saw like what was going on. But I really like when they do the light tube thing. And I now it's totally blanking on me who did it, but I want to say it was Alex Colon. Well, there's one specific way, as you said. It kind of like, even when they're doing the devil horns and they're doing the horns on their heads, like how you said they do. I forgot which wrestler did it, but like I liked how they really took the end, like it went like surgically, and I think it was KG on announcement, like said even like a doctor, you see him cutting the incisions onto the end,
little pops,
little
pop,
poke.
pop, pop.
You see the blood drip down, and then now you wipe it and smear it all over your face to look way more. I'm a fan. I am not a professional. You guys do it way better. You guys are all smarter about it, but like that. I'm just saying how I like. Whoever did that, I forgot. I've seen it a couple times too, so I don't think it's one specific wrestler that does it, but I've seen them like kind of do that one little knock, get the blood, and then you can do the theatrics to make it look way better because, as you said, sometimes, and it's wrestling, tricks are given away sometimes, but it does sometimes take away from the effect, or for somebody brand new and stuff like that, it kind of takes away the realism or whatever feeling that they had about wrestling going into that match. So I didn't want to dive too into it, but like once you said that, it reminded me of sometimes when I see deathmatch wrestlers do it, I love when they do that because it gets the blood going and then you can do the theatrics and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Instead of just, hey, you're slicing them with the pizza cutter for 40 seconds and no blood happens.
Nothing fucking comes out.
Yeah. And this one, I think, I
mean,
think one I saw, it might have been the third rope that he went to, but like you did see out of nowhere, just a big trickle of blood start dripping down. So I was like, I kind of got worried, like, oh shit, maybe he actually did go in a little bit too hard and got some blood that time, which is fine. It made it look good. It wasn't a disaster, horrible cut like how Moxie's talked about losing parts of his tongue to this damn pizza cutter. So especially with the pizza cutter kind of playing a lot into this rivalry, this match, I thought it was cool they did it. I think they could have done it better, but obviously it's wrestling. So I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents on that part.
No, that's fair. I'm just saying if you're going to take it, if you're going to actually take glass and show fans and take it to the side and have a camera close up, if there's any time to cut a person, that's it. That's just what I was thinking. I mean, there's always someone new watching. If I brought someone new over here and showed them that, they would probably go, he didn't even cut him.
Yeah.
That's the first thing out of his fucking mouth. And guess what? We think it too. So I just wanted to mention that. 16 minutes in, Gage goes through a pane of glass. He was getting beat up pretty fucking bad. Mox was pulling incredible heat while Gage was on the floor drinking water. No lie. That's what I saw. That's what he was doing. He was trying to recoup. He really did take a beating, and I completely understand it. So it's not easy to do anything for 20 some minutes, and he's out there beating ass. So at that point, Stokely Hathaway and Morrissey show up and they decide they're going to interfere. Morrissey comes in and choke slams Mox through barbed wire wrapped pane glass. It was brutal. You tell me what your thoughts are, sir.
I love the ending, to be honest with you. I loved it because of a lot of things and a lot of stories that they told with that. And even though it might not be GCW specific, it kind of interweaves itself into AEW's programming and stuff like that. So I liked it just because MJF kind of does have a history in GCW. Not a history, but he's wrestled for GCW. So
yes,
I thought that'd be kind of cooler if he would have came out and it would have been way more of a reaction and would have definitely made waves on the internet with wrestling, just in general, kind of like how Cardona and Gage did. Him sending the firm who he has hired to take care of business when needed, as they mentioned on AEW programming. I loved having them come out and interfere, and it fits in with Nick Gage as MJF did hire or pick Nick Gage as one of Jericho's labors of Jericho when they were having a feud in AEW, and that got Nick Gage onto AEW programming. So this is kind of wrapping that whole story into one of, hey, you did me the favor. You came on my show to beat up Jericho. It might have taken a year and a half to repay that effort that you did, but a year and a half later,
you got it.
Yes, they helping him sending people to help Nick Gage win, and especially over Moxley, because obviously I think it's leading up to a Moxley versus MJF in AEW. I loved the crossover. I am a huge fan of crossovers on almost any part of my life, of movies, music, wrestling, any clothing. I love crossovers, and having AEW people come onto GCW and help Nick Gage win made sense, because if you watch this match and kind of see, I hate to say this, but like how it's going, if Nick Gage were to win, there is no believable at that moment unless he hits him with a miracle choke breaker, goes on a crazy spree, which could possibly always happen. If Nick Gage were to win with just by doing that, as a fan, a new watcher, no way. Why did that? He got his ass kicked for 20 minutes out of the 22-minute match. How is that possible? Where, hey, he didn't need the help, even though he kind of did, but he's not going to acknowledge that he needed the help. He's just, hey, I got help. Like, it happened. It ain't my fault. Fuck you, Moxley. It's my career. It goes on and on. Maybe we'll catch each other down the road if like your bitch ass boss lets you or something like that, as he kind of makes mention to at the end of this kind of show. At the end of this show, he does make kind of a brief mention to it, but to kind of bring everything full together with that storyline, the different crossover company, and Nick Gage kind of needing it to win, I loved it. I did love it. I just think it would have been better with MJF, but there's no shot in hell that's ever happening again. But I enjoyed it. Yes, the way the match was going, I was not enjoying Nick Gage laying on the ground. I love the cheering. I love the crowd just absolutely cheering the shit for Nick Gage, and kind of thinking the way the match is going, hey, we might lose our king here. It's not looking good. So maybe that Gage.
No, it was not looking good.
Yeah, maybe Nick Gage played me for a fool.
Jesus.
Like, maybe he was fine, but just played us all for a fool, thinking that he is not as hurt or as injured or as rusty as what he really is. I don't know. I just wasn't, as the match was going on, I was not happy at all. The ending saved it for me, and I did end up leaving, finished watching this event with a smile on my face. And then once again, my Booker thing going of, oh, what if they do this, this? I'm like, oh, wait, that's not happening no more. This is kind of Tony Khan's way of, hey, we're going to do this one last thing, but I'm going to be kind of in control of it. And they kind of do make mention of this on the World of Deathmatch podcast on GCW's Patreon. They came out earlier today. I did listen to it for a little bit, and they kind of made mention of that's kind of what happened. Little breaking the fourth wall there they did. So
what's that? That's it? Kind of thing?
Tony Khan saying that, yeah, like, we're okay. Since you announced this and I am kind of screwing you and Moxley, I want to make Moxley happy, because Moxley could easily say, like, no, I'm not signing that contract. Is like, he was working without a contract for AEW during all this crazy times, and he's still doing what he wants to do. So I know Tony Khan kind of like had, from what I've heard on the Alex Colon and Stephen A podcast, was that Tony Khan kind of had his hands on how that match was going to end, which absolutely makes sense. Seeing it play out in front of me makes perfect sense. I like it. Kind of gets them a little bit of extra indie buzz heading into AEW. Like, or we're recording this right now on a Wednesday night of going into Dynamite, so I actually can't wait to see if they mention during this or not on their broadcast, which I think would be kind of cool. But hearing the contract news with Moxley and Tony Khan, I not think that's happening in any foreseeable future. But to me, I'll talk about this at the end, but because I don't want to take away from the ending of this match, because I do have one kind of thought or question or opinion I do want to say, but kind of has nothing to do with this match. So I'll ask or answer. You're
gonna hope I say it first.
No, you ain't gonna say it. I definitely know you ain't gonna say what I'm thinking, because it has nothing to do with this match, but just kind of what happens.
Okay, so I've polished so many things negative. I will say though that if MJF would have showed up, that really would have heightened his street cred with really hardcore fans.
Yeah,
we would have not expected him to show up, and it would have been a treat for the hardcore ones that did come out to sit in that 50-degree weather.
I've seen him before in GCW. Like I said, he's made a couple GCW appearances, along with a lot of the AEW roster just in general too. But yeah, I thought that would have been super cool. But then also there's no shot with MJF.
No. And I just, my opinion is between the two wrestlers there, only one of them looked like a champion. And only one of them looked like they could go another 4 rounds. I mean, I'm just being honest. If that was not our beloved Nick Gage, and it was somebody else laying on that ground for that long, we would not ask them to come back. We would have booed them out of the damn building, and there would have been a bunch of people on Twitter and elsewhere complaining. That's heel Wolf tonight. I'm dead serious. It did not look like a champion. I really thought Gage was losing it, but then we found out about the news. And it's without saying anything, it it was Ric Flair fucking vibes.
Yeah.
Hate me. John J. Wolf at Twitter. Hate me. I'm dead serious. It did not look good. It didn't make sense. He was damn near dead on that ground for as long as I had mentioned. He had that fish out of water look to his eyes. He was sucking wind. And Jon Moxley was out there working with himself for a quarter of that match. I have to tell you what I see. And that's just what we all saw in that ring was what we saw there. So I have to say that he must have been really injured, because otherwise I can't see how that would have been considered match ready. So he had to have been blown up from the beginning, and then he went into that match and took a fucking kick to the chest that probably screwed him up bad. And I will tell you that as a fan of Nick Gage, this was not the way I would have wanted to see Nick Gage go out anyway.
Yes.
So I'm really happy that there are more chances here. I think the most honest thing Gage can do is come out and tell the fans, hey, I got fucking kicked in the chest and that shit hurt so bad, but I pulled out the win. But I will tell you, I'm not happy with that win. That is not the Nick Gage that worked his ass off for half a year to show you my best. That is not my best. The best is yet to come, and just wait. And then you would hear probably a lot of people doubt. Hopefully he would use that doubt as something that would fuel him to be better. And I would like to see a healthy Gage, because I honestly think we saw 80% less of him for almost 6 minutes because he just got the wind or something knocked the fuck out of him real hard. And it was dead fucking obvious that he was hurting. And if anybody's seen football or been in football, you know what a guy that has that fish out of water looks like. And you can see when a guy is fucking, sucking wind for air. You can see when a guy has shaky hands and arms what that means. I watched Gage having a hard time at one point getting his arms over his fucking chest. I know what that means. So I was watching that stuff too. And I'm like, oh shit. And I don't want to make comparisons, but it did have comparisons where I'm like, shit, it was almost a Ric Flair situation where I'm like, oh, this is almost sad. Don't hate me for it. I mean, really, no lie. It was like, oh, this is rough. And it was. Anyone who watched that, who didn't have some sympathy going and didn't kind of almost feel bad for the way this was turning out, would be bullshitting me. It just was rough, and I don't want to get too much further into it because there was a lot of feel good, but this is not his retirement match in no fucking way. I want to see, he's so much more capable and he deserves better. The fans, I'm sure he would want better out of this match. So any fans who may have an opinion and upset or disagree, that's perfectly fine. But I have a feeling if you ask Nick Gage if that was his best foot forward and if he would have not been able to do it any better, and I'm sure he would have said, I would have loved to have done that again because there were moments there that were not his best, and I'm going to bank on him being injured. But yeah. I mean, at the same time, he won with that fucking choke breaker on Mox. 21 minutes. The fans swarmed the ring. There were MDK chants like crazy. I was happy as fuck because I know we're going to see more Nick Gage, and that made me also feel better because what I saw was not the best Nick Gage. So that gave me hope that the next Nick Gage match is going to be 10 times better than what we saw. The locker room came out of the ring to celebrate. We're getting GCW chants everywhere. Gage thanks the fans for believing in him, said he couldn't do it without the fans. He puts over GCW again. He says that none of this shit, it would all pop. I don't have a good way to put it. It's MDK all fucking day.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on everything you said there. I had similar feelings when he had his match or when he showed up at Hammerstein, since that was, I think, the first time we seen him since he lost last October to Jon Moxley the first time. And even during that match, he did not look the same, but it was very clear. like right away in that first couple minutes of the match when he got backdrop to the outside through the floor. He landed a little wrong on his knee and kind of hurt his leg and knee. And then the rest of the match, honestly, did not look as bad as kind of how this one went. He did fight through it and soldier through it. But even then, I was like, oh, that's kind of like, this sucks that injury happened during this match because it's probably one of the biggest ones in Nick Gage's career at that time. And then we don't see him for the longest time. And then we see him at Hammerstein and he kind of bloated up a little bit and kind of looked out of shape. But he made his return, got his Hammerstein moment, which was cool. But I thought right away, it's like, I hope that's not the Nick Gage we get, where he's just coming out and kind of like, hey, I'm not the title holder no more. I don't need to train. I've done this. I'm just going to show up, get my pop and leave. And we have proof that is not as what happened. He has busted his ass, as you said, for months in the gym with Jordan and Cole and Nick. And we've seen the videos and we've seen the physical transformation of his body getting into tremendous shape. So
he deserves better.
Yes,
that's me being a heel too, but being face here is that he deserved better.
And he put in the work. That's why I'm not.
Fuck yeah.
He looked bad, but it has nothing to do with him being lazy or not trying to look as his old MDK self. He busted his ass in the gym. He looked tremendous. I was looking forward to this match to see what kind of Nick Gage we're getting, because I know he's been
he worked his ass off.
I know he's been busting his ass, and exactly as you said, I was interested to see if we're getting the old Nick Gage, and I was kind of hoping for it, but something just seemed off. I don't know what it is. Maybe with the whole contract thing with Moxley kind of throwing his stuff into, like, there was a lot of different variables where I say that I didn't enjoy this match because it wasn't Nick Gage's best, but that is no knock on Nick Gage. He busted his ass. He tried his best to put on a great performance for us fans. It's just something didn't click, didn't happen in the rings, or injury happened. Something prevented us from getting peak MDK. And that's where I do want to make it clear where I was not happy with it. It's not a knock on Gage for being lazy and like just taking the easy way out, collecting a paycheck and collecting the fame. And
he just deserves better.
Yes, it's just something happened where all that hard work seemed to be for naught based on how the match kind of played out in ring of everything that happened, where it wasn't peak Gage. And I just want to stress, it's not a knock on Gage. It's not saying he's lazy, and we deserve better as fans. I think he deserves better because he did put in the hard work, where it's just whatever outside thing happened or in the ring happened to kind of knock that flow off. It's a very unfortunate. It just made it visually tougher to watch, but it's not his fault. Not a knock on him, not a knock on Moxley. I think they did what they best that they could. It's just obviously something happened that not let us see the hard work. Yeah, it could be that. To
me, yeah. I think that was what it was.
And I did notice him shaking, as you said, his hand was like shaking a little bit more.
Yeah.
Where I couldn't tell if, hey, he legit hurt his hand or he's just trying to do a little selling on it. So that's great work. If it was real or fake, it fooled me. And that's what wrestling's supposed to do as fans.
Yeah, I'm banking on the fact that he got injured. Like I say, I'm sitting here like, I'm dissatisfied. Actually, I'm not dissatisfied. I'm just saying I saw a man down there, got the shit kicked out of him, and he was hurting. He wasn't able to perform to the level that I know he wanted to. And I'm right there, and I agree with him. And that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if you saw the news because we were recording right now, but as we were recording, we kind of get to see what Nick Gage looks like back in the ring, as it was kind of just announced a few minutes ago that Nick Gage is making his return to the Ukrainian Cultural Center in LA, and it says returns to action in LA. Doesn't say who he's going against, but at least we will get to see Nick Gage in action, and hopefully that night we get to see what we should have saw tonight, barring injury,
when is that?
Anything else. That is October 29th.
Oh my gosh, you're going to be there.
The one I'm going to. So hopefully we get to see Nick Gage at his finest form. Like I said, barring injury or anything else that could prevent that from.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, that motherfucker probably picked up the phone, called Lauderdale, and said, "I need to set this shit straight. That was not my best."
And I love it.
I guarantee
I love
you.
that attitude.
He has to, because otherwise, I mean, first of all, I guarantee you, he hasn't done this in 5 months. He's fucking sore.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
for him to go, you know what? In 2 weeks, I'm going to be ready, boss. That was not my best. They deserve better. And you know what? Again, I don't know. I'm not trying to read his mind. I'm just saying, a couple weeks after this shit went down, he's already wrestling again as you know, a fighting champ at this point. So,
And I love it. I love that part of it.
Yeah, it's surprising. What you just told me was surprising. I didn't think we'd see that title defended for months.
That's kind of when you were going over that one match, I kind of stepped away, and like that's kind of what I was reading. I was kind of like, whoa, we're getting Nick Gage in UCC unexpectedly, which I haven't seen until almost a year ago, last October, when I got to see Gage versus Suzuki. So yeah, the LA fans are going to be super pumped and amped for that night. We haven't seen Nick Gage return in ring. I think he's made a couple entrances or done announcing in the UCC since then, but we haven't seen him in action since that match with Suzuki. So yeah, that's one good thing to look forward to. The next night, Nick Gage does make another little speech and stuff like that, so we will cover that on night 2. But no in-ring action happened on night 2, but the workings of who is next in line for the GCW world title, I think, happened the next night. I am not 100% sure.
Look on my camera. What does that say? Can you see what that says right there?
Who is in the title hunt?
I was getting ready to ask you, who do you think are the 3 people in the title hunt right now?
And I have to remove, unfortunately, one of my top people that I thought were in the hunt. Jordan Oliver with that loss to Gresham kind of hurts, and just in storyline and making wins and losses matter. With that loss, it kind of hurt him. I think that big win would have made him improve. But seeing the landscape that we have right now, I want to see Drew Parker would be a very nice matchup. One I did not say, I've been saying Joey and Mance, and they're still up there, but I totally skipped this name, and I haven't said his name being in the title picture in a few months, and I don't know why, and it makes me feel disrespectful even admitting it and saying it, but Alex Colon, he's supposed to have 2 different title matches, supposedly. I think I know of one reason why. Like, I think they announced a match versus Nick Gage, but something happened. I don't know if it was COVID or anything, but that match has never happened. So he never did get his title match against not Moxley. I'm sorry, Gage. And there was, I guess, another time. I guess they were talking about it on today's podcast, ironically. So that's what when I heard him mention that, I'm like, I don't think. This was before we recorded. I was like, yeah, last couple times I've been saying Drew, Jordan, Joey, Mance. Totally disrespecting Alex Colon, who is right up there, would have a great match with Moxley or have a great match with Nick Gage. So, and kind of knowing that John Wayne Murdoch is hurt and might be, I don't know how long he's going to be out of action for or anything, but it would be kind of nice seeing if Alex Colon can't defend the GCW tag titles with John Wayne Murdoch, it would kind of see him kind of get that moment to shine and get his title match, because we know he has still mentioned he's plans on taking a break here through the holidays and stuff like that. So it would be kind of nice before Alex Colon leaves. We get to see Nick Gage versus Alex Colon, because who knows in a couple months what Nick Gage is going to look like in the ring in a couple months, and who knows how long Alex Colon is going to be gone. So once again, just take advantage of the moment, book that match while you can now, because even though the workings are happening where you might be losing one or both competitors here soon. So I think it would be pretty cool to see Colon and Gage. I think now that I'm talking about it out loud, seeing it in LA, because Alex Colon never really wrestles in LA. I think I saw him once in the last year or two wrestle in LA. That was, I don't want to mention the wrestler's name, but it was a fun death match. And that was probably one of the death matches, oh my God. Yeah, we're getting long in this episode.
Best matches?
My speaking today has been bad today.
Well, you've heard me. I've had to just say fuck it and move on to the next sentence.
Best death match I have seen in the UCC was with Alex Colon. And I think that would be a cool little story. And obviously the LA fans would If they announce that, I tell you right now, whatever tickets they have left, I guarantee you it will be sold out before, because the LA crowd's just dying for the ultra violence, and give them Nick fucking Gage and Alex Colon. But if they can't bitch again for the longest time, get that match, because that's a match that nobody else has gotten. So I think that'd be really cool seeing kind of that moment happen.
Okay, so I actually put Cardona as my first, and I think unless Cardona has the belt, Cardona may always be my first. His popularity, his look, what he brings with his internet presence, I think that out of name value alone, Cardona for me will always be in the run, in the top two, always, because he's just a threat. I could see him coming in there, taking that bitch and keeping it for quite a while. And I'll be honest with you, I think he's going to take it from Gage one day here soon.
And I'm shocked he didn't kind of make an appearance in the match. That was kind of my thinking, that he would kind of get involved in that way, because of he has a storyline with both of them lately. So out of popularity alone, I would put Effie in here, but I'm not, because Effie is so over, he doesn't need a belt. I'm just going to say that right up That's
front.
a great point.
I don't know why. It's like he's his own large firework. There is no reason to blow off two at one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what would be the point? So I think in that point, that's almost like, let's keep one firework for here and let's keep one firework for here, because we only have two.
Love that.
So
thinking.
yeah, so I look at that way with him. My second, I'm going to stay with Jordan, just based on the fact that he has such a high amount of matches. He's still willing to lose. His win-loss record is not fantastic. He's constantly learning. He is in the gym every day with the champion. Might be a hint. I'm not 100% sure. Also,
got plenty of
when it comes to my third, right? Oh my gosh. Could you imagine they put a storyline where he's doing his fucking, like he's just over there on the bench and he's just working the bench, and all of a sudden someone just kind of pushes the bar down on his chest.
You feel the world coming down on you?
Yeah. It's time to go, old man.
Yes. And I've been secretly trained. Okay, yeah, we're going to dive too far.
No. So then I had a third person, but I don't want to mention it. But my number 3 is a two-way tie between Mance. And because it's been I just fucked myself. My second was going to be Joey Janela, but he's like Effie. He doesn't need a championship.
Yep, I agree. And that's why those are like 2 of my 3 that I said. And I like your thinking too, because that's what I kind of always been saying lately with these part-timers, like in these bigger companies. Bring in Brock. Absolutely bring him in once, 3, 4 times a year. Don't put him in the damn title picture. He doesn't need to be like that. Doesn't elevate anything.
Doesn't need that shine.
Exactly. He's going to be a special attraction main event star without the belts. Let him help raise the notoriety and popularity of another wrestler that obviously might need it, and let the other wrestlers that are wrestling for the belt fight for that and get the popularity that way. Like, as you said, I really like that analogy of 2 fireworks. Like, you don't need to have 1 grand finale. You could have 2 awesome finales, not 1 grand one. You could have 2 awesome finales. So I love that analogy you did there.
So here's one for you, since we already kind of worked through this one. I'm going to give you some names, and I want to know what title you'd put them on. And I'm going to show you that we may have a hole in our title pictures. Okay. If you were to put a title on, let's just say, Hoodfoot, what would you put him on? Okay, great. Right? So what about Joey Janela if you had to put a title on him? They already have one on him. You can agree or you can change it. It's up to you.
I don't want to spoil the next show.
You're not doing anything. Nope, we're not doing a damn thing at all. We're just talking titles.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in the world title or as the DDT Extreme title holder. I like that because his matches tend to get extreme. I think.
Good.
That's kind of where I like. I think I know where we'll play it out. I want to see if I'm right where you're going here or not. Because if so, I have talked about this in the past.
Okay. So what about Gringo Loco? What would you put a title on him at? Extreme title? Okay. What about Deppen?
I think we're going down the road. I think I would.
There's a hole in the championship where there may have to be a title made that goes towards the lightweight or the middleweight division, which can't really happen. So maybe we need to have an IC style title or possibly a European, like we have to have a title under the championship. We need a secondary title that has nothing to do with violence, just like the championship really has nothing to do. So what I'm saying is we need one clean title that Deppen can hold. We need one clean title that Zane could hold. Nick Wayne could hold. We need one of those. I don't care if it's a 24/7 style. I don't care, because let's be honest, these guys could cut film on their phone. 24/7 title could kind of be. GCW is an anywhere kind of fucking town. Or they're kind of a company. I don't understand why that couldn't go down. Shoot 5 minutes in the back of an alley somewhere. Someone gets fucking tapped out on a bus. But I know that's way too. But Rocky Romero, Gringo Loco, Tony Deppen, Commander. I mean, just because they can flip, we can't always give them a scramble. But I can tell you, they can do more than flip, some of these guys. And there should be I don't want to say a pure title, but something close to that.
Yep.
I can feel the wave.
Nope. That's where we were going. That's where I was thinking too. Once you were starting going down there, we need something for these quote unquote traditional wrestlers.
Kevin Blackwood would work in that kind of a spot.
That's kind of when I go back to when we first started this podcast. And like I said, I have changed my mind on what I originally thought, but I still think there is a place for that idea to be kind of fully fleshed out by bigger and better bookers, quote unquote Brett. But that's where I think the title differentiation, than when I was saying the scramble, get rid of the extreme, get rid of either extreme or ultra violent. I wanted to get rid of the extreme just because, hey, like, what's the difference between extreme and ultra violent? You could kind of nitpick here and there, but if they're both going on at the same time, what is honestly the difference between those two belts? So I was thinking
maybe 5 weapons. I mean, what really would it be? Think about it. Maybe 5 weapons.
Tubes,
glass.
Like, literally, the light tubes. So that's where I kind of wanted to see more differentiation with the belts, because I think the world could always be a hybrid. When the situation calls, it could get ultra violent. If the situation between these two competitors and Jordan and Nick Wayne, let's say one day, they don't need to get violent. If they choose to, awesome. It's for the world title. Who cares? If they just have a one-on-one match with no weapons, going to be fantastic if it's for the belt. So I think that I always said the world title should be kind of like a hybrid. Either, get rid of extreme or ultra violent. In my opinion, I wanted to get rid of extreme, turn that into the scramble belt. And now we have, just as new fans, we just had an extreme match earlier. What does this mean? Ultra violent? Is this going to be more violence? And now you got to live up to expectations where you're limiting the extreme. The competitors are wrestling for the extreme title if they're wrestling on the same night that ultra violence go. And like, you can't have the extreme title be more crazy and violent than the ultra violent stuff. So
because what does that say about the other title?
Exactly. Yep. That's what I was going to say. Like, you're limiting whoever's title's going on first. If it's the ultra violent titles first, then the extreme better get extreme and more violent than ultra violent. If the extreme title's being defended before ultra violent, then ultra violent needs to step up and be more crazier than the extreme title. So that's why I just think they're kind of the same thing in my book. You could just combine them. And then I always said scramble. If you don't want to do a scramble, I get it. As you said, add in a quote unquote something traditional title, pure title. Come up with they've done creative shit all the time. They could come up with a creative, catchy name to make this belt say like, hey, this is going to have this set of rules. And I know they don't even have any rules at all. Like, everything's up to the referee. It's all discretionary. The referee can decide if they want to enforce tags or not. They can enforce I saw a DQ once, and I was blown away. It was Jacob Fatu brought in just a giant pipe. And then they were DQing him. Like, what the fuck are you guys DQing him for? Like, some guy could commit murder with thumbtacks and light tubes and gusset plates and pizza cutter, but a lead pipe is too much where we get a disqualification. Like, that one blew my mind.
We've seen people pull knives.
Exactly. Like that,
At our show, Allie pulled a knife. I mean,
yeah, she's done that.
yeah. Oh, the lead pipe. Well, there is lead poisoning.
Oh, geez.
Could be lead poisoning.
What about mercury poisoning with the spooky?
Oh, fuck. That's, oh my God. You know what? I still have so many questions about that, but I'm sure the wrestlers do too. I'm sure that we probably will all learn that a little bit of that won't hurt us, but I'm sure no one's going to drink it anytime soon. Somebody's going to try to snort it backstage.
Yeah, but I agree with everything that you were saying though, like where you're going with it, because it leaves a hole for a wrestler like Jordan, like Blake, like Kevin, like Deppin, like
okay. So what I'm saying is, we're okay. This happened in the WCW until they kind of figured an answer out for it, but this was the place where our modern day Dean Malenko, Jericho, and Eddie Guerrero would kind of be brushed aside because they're not big enough to have the championship title. Since Deppin isn't 6'2" or 6 foot, they're like, well, we'll just keep him here. He's a damn good wrestler. He deserves at some time to get a title run. I just don't know when. I think having that one belt changed into some type of a different belt would really also, I think, boost the morale of quite a few of the other wrestlers if they know that they might be able to grab a title now. Some of these guys may look around and go, hey, maybe there's one for me now.
Yep. They're going to be motivated. They're like, hey, that belt has my name written all over it. I will take that to great places. Now you got all this talent, more motivated and stuff like that. I thought instead of like the X division, I don't like weight limits. I don't like the weight limit parts because then now you're booking yourself even to more of a freaking hole. But
right.
I like the whole X division stuff where it's a style of wrestling. So I don't know, when you were talking about it, I was like, we needed a catchy name. Hey, instead this ain't catchy. This is awful. We could play the awful jokes or the loser game, showdown, whatever you want to play. Yeah. Instead of the X division, the G division.
The G division, just no,
G division, something. They gotta like. I just think that could be happening. Not like.
Well, what I'm saying is if you're looking at a deathmatch thing, you've got the ultra violent and the extreme. Okay, so one is a little less violent than the other.
Yeah.
So the problem that I'm having here is we're in the kitchen and here comes the Hamburger King, and then 25 minutes later, here comes the Steak King. What does that say about the hamburger guy when the Steak King can do all that shit the hamburger guy can, plus a bunch of other shit? That's why we're talking. Oh, that's why I'm saying the titles overlap.
Yeah.
Now, why in the hell should we have two guys that are deathmatch guys and we have Tony Deppin sitting over there gatekeeping and enhancing people? Like, that guy does not deserve a run somewhere. He's a fucking fantastic heel. He's got a champion mentality in him. I would love to see something strapped on him, but I don't think there should be only two options. Either you be the champion or you have to get fucking shit busted over your head.
Exactly. You're putting these wrestlers like Blake Christian. I've always used Jordan as an example, but now I guess the newest one is Blake Christian. Yeah, you're in the world title match against Jon Moxley. Awesome, amazing, good for you. You're going to kill it. But guess what? You're going to have to deal with shit that you've never done before. I didn't bust out light tubes, I don't think, that match, but barbed wires, doors, chairs. You're going to have to deal with all this stuff that, as a wrestler, what we've come to love from you is none of that stuff. But now you're forcing that wrestler into a place that's not their home, where they're not mostly comfortable with, and that's... Honestly, I was going to ask you this, but it's going to answer my own question. Like, what was one of the worst Blake's matches you've seen in this last run?
The match with Moxley.
Exactly.
He looked completely outmatched.
Yeah, and it looks kind of like out
his
of
character.
place.
I'll tell you what was out of place was telling him he's a bad guy and then sending him out as a good guy.
Yep, that's it.
It was like watching a Superman movie and then you find out Lex Luthor is the good guy in this one. And I'm like, wait a minute, I subscribed to see this.
Yep.
And then you show me this. And hey, that's no problem. But none of it was explained. None of it was booked out in the match as such. And none of it went over. And ever since then, this crowd has had a fucking problem with Blake. So I'm thinking that's the big deal there. But if not, it's always going to be a two-headed monster or more. It's never always one reason.
Yeah.
So people are probably upset that he's got, a Everybody likes the starving artist. We talked about this a while back. Sometimes when these guys go up higher, I mean, what's going to happen? Effie's going to get watered down, and there goes the Elton John music. Oh, great. That's just wonderful. All right. Well, how's Speedball going to come out without Brass Monkey? Like, this is they're known for this, and it gets watered down. They're going to tell Speedball slow down at some point.
Like, we got to throw Speedball into a match with John Moxley with thumbtacks or Nick Gage. Sorry, not Moxley no more, but Nick Gage. Like, Speedball's up there. Like, I think he's the only reason I never say his name as being one as these wrestlers to wrestle for the world titles, just because stylistically it's not good for him.
Yeah.
I think in-ring wise, popularity wise, the quality of matches he's been having, good luck finding anyone better right now, because it's going to be hard. So he's very much proven he's deserving of it, but it kind of limits it. Like I said, I know they don't have rules. It doesn't have to be crazy. Okay, now you're going to have Nick Gage in a one-on-one match with Speedball without light tubes or any of that stuff, or you add it. Like, you're going to hurt one wrestler or the other. I loved your idea of like making it a belt for everybody under traditional rules. Like,
so think about it. Yeah, Deppin's going to go, all right, I have to beat Gage, or I'm going to have to be an extreme or an ultra-violent kind of guy. And that's not me. I like wrestling. I like to actually put on a show. I like to give the basics. Not the basics, but I like to go back to fundamentals and tell a story. And that's exactly what he does. And then here comes the personality that's fantastic, and he will not be looked at. He won't.
It just seems like those kind of wrestlers, the Greshams, the Leo Rushes, Speedballs, the top of the fucking super talented wrestlers aren't ever wrestling for anything meaningful. They're just putting on dream matches, which I guess is cool.
And they're all our favorites.
Exactly.
They're all our favorites.
So it's cool seeing them in these dream matches that we're not going to see anymore. But if we're going to see as much as we have, like with Speedball, or when Leo Rush was more consistently in GCW, and same thing with Gresham, where it's like, if they're going to be around here, it would be nice to make these matches mean something other than bragging rights on a dream match. And there are spots for dream matches, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't just always has to be these people. I just think they need to add on, as you said. I liked your the thinking there, because that's what I've kind of always had with the Extreme title since we started this podcast, turning it into a scramble. So that was always my thoughts of rewarding those wrestlers that, I mean, kind of don't fit into kind of the whole GCW aspect once it comes into title pictures. Like, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. They could put on awesome, amazing scrambles, but how can you reward them to have a nice payoff with the crowd? So it's something that oh, good.
No, I was just going to say, like, professionally in Deppin's position, where can he go higher? He comes out, he earns his paycheck. That be that. There's no incentive to move forward. When's his Gage match? I mean, these things are, and off the top of my head, there's quite a few that I'm putting real close next to Deppin, who are kind of middle-sized guys who are fantastic at their job. They could absolutely hold their own weight if they're asked to, but just because of one thing or another, they're just not in that title hunt. You put Blake up against Moxley, boy, was that a difference. However, absolutely. However, if you would have Blake versus Deppin for a intercontinental title, then boy, would that look good. Not only that, but it would make more of the guys who are around the same size, match up a little more with each other, and no one would know the better. As long as the heavyweight, as long as the championship doesn't meet up against the IC championship.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, we talked about it before, talk about it now. That's going to be a conversation that we will have plenty down the line, because interesting, because there's so much they could do, or we think they should do, that makes sense. But
I got one. Yep. I got one. You ready?
Yeah.
Here's something that I'd like to see GCW eventually kind of absorb into their roster: a promo-driven character.
Cardona. Sorry. Other than Cardona, though, there's not really.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm looking at. A promo-driven character. I would love to see that. I love the artistic side, so I would like to see the what was a good word I was going to use for it? The creativity. So I was looking forward to the creativity.
I definitely would like to see a little bit more promo. It doesn't have to be no 10-15 minute Raw style. Give him the mic, no. make a point, make a statement. boom, bing, get out of there, or do it on social media where it's not taken away from the crowd and in-ring action. Like, there is a give and take. Yeah. Like, obviously, when I go to wrestling, I don't want to hear someone talk all the time, but I wouldn't mind hearing, hey, why are you going into this match real fast? Quickly do it. Or, hey, I'm in line waiting to get in the show. I could see something pop up on social media. So
it's like talk shows. You know, you have certain people that you like to watch. It would be really nice if you could hear them sit down and just have a conversation for a while.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Very fun night, though, for Fight Club. Obviously, as we just talked about, there's a lot of places they could go now, which is always a fun feeling because always it's nice to be surprised and have unexpected things happen. And we saw quite a few of that tonight. And I think in the future, we will be seeing a lot more surprises and entertaining storylines and in-ring action to go on, especially in Fight Club Night. Going into the memorable moments of night one. John, I'll let you go ahead and do it first.
All right, so my first memorable moment, I love seeing a well done promo. Thank you for putting together that well done promo. Whoever done it did an excellent job. I hope they do more work again in the future. The beautiful ocean backdrop was so fantastic. I hope to see it again more. And it's almost like Bash at the Beach. I would really love to see it. Be a situation where every so often, as long as weather permitting, they have a little thing out there. Light tube dust looks fantastic against the night sky. I had to mention it again. Leo Rush being back. I really shouldn't have taken that one. I knew that was coming for you too. I think you can. That's okay. I'm sure you want to maybe even talk about that a little. Really good tag team death match that went down. And then lastly, Gage winning the championship back. I'm really curious to see where it goes after this. I was really rough on this match because I can guarantee you when he went back to the locker room, he was probably just as, you know how it is. You're rougher on yourself than everybody else is. I'm not being rough to hurt feelings. I'm being rough like, this is what I saw. I believe the man was injured. I believe he's capable of better. I know he's capable of better. I've seen 10 times better. He worked his ass off for half a year. He deserves better. And I think that we have the best to come. It's just he probably got the shit kicked out of him just for a moment on that baseball slide. But again, that's my opinion. But I think the man changed after that. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because that man gives a fuck. And we are GCW fans. So that means that we're behind him 100%. So when I talk about the match being what it was, the match was like that because just dude got the wind took out of him there is what I'm thinking. And that can happen. I've seen Super Bowl champions get the wind knocked out of them or get hit in the chest too hard. And it takes them sometimes 10 minutes, 15 minutes to come back onto the field. This dude's sitting in the ring trying to perform, trying to catch his air, trying to not hurt. So I have to give him credit for that, too. He didn't deserve this. He deserved better. And I know better will come out of Nick Gage.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's very nice having the belt back home, back around the king. Because just even if it's for one match, even I just think it would be they opened up a lot more stories and investments for people to get invested in and to see like who's going to have the next challenger. I kind of see it the next night. I don't know if we actually do or not, but just seeing him now as they announced him for UCC, it's very going to be nice seeing a GCW champion in 2 weeks back on my screen and that world title back out there for everyone to kind of chase after and get the motivation to dethrone the king. And now you opened up a lot more storylines, a lot more matches that could happen. So I do like how they gave themselves a lot of wiggle room with this booking. It is sad that it sounds like we're not going to see Moxley for a while. Because I really do like seeing him, and I thought it was so awesome seeing him in a GCW ring. Hopefully they could figure that situation out. But obviously with the independents and the bigger wrestling companies, it's going to be a lot harder to. Another memorable moment, the first thing, seeing Leo Rush back. Just to see if they're going to go with Blake. Is he won this match? Is he going to be going against Moxley? Or sorry, that's going to be weird now. Saying Gage as a champion. Is he going to go against Gage as a champion? What is in store for Leo Rush here? How long is he going to be around here? Is he going to show up to more shows? Or is he going to take another couple weeks off or months off as he did between LA and tonight Fight Club, which kind of sucked. But I will never take for granted seeing him on my screen because he's super talented, and I very much enjoy watching him wrestle. Gresham with a pretty big victory over Jordan. I liked it. Kind of cemented himself as being a part of the GCW, hopefully not main roster, but getting up there in the title pictures. Seeing a lot of new faces, Skywalker, Yamamoto, and Shota. I would definitely want to see more of them. Just in general, Skywalker and Yamamoto, I definitely want to see all the time. Shota, I would like to see him given another chance to show us what he really is capable of. Los Mestizo's against Cole Radrick and Joey Janela. Fun, entertaining, dangerous, violent match. Loved it. Same thing. Drew Parker and Rena going against Cologne and Tremont. Surprised with the Tremont. Very awesome seeing the violence of these 4 competitors because they're fun to watch. And once again, Nick Gage, MDK bringing back the title home, trying to see where they go from.
Yeah. I gotta shake off the heel now.
Yeah, you're gonna. I'm gonna be watching your comments here on this one.
Oh my gosh!
It's always.
I was actually very
all good.
Yeah. Plus the fact that I made sure that I told the truth. This is what I saw, and I didn't do it for harm. I did it because this is what I saw, and I made sure I did the benefit of the doubt by saying, "Man, that the guy's injured. I mean, fuck, I can't take 2 fucking boots to the chest." So I'm just enjoying the entertainment. Exactly. Right. Yeah, let alone light tubes.
So that will wrap it up for GCW Fight Club Night 1. Night 2, a lot of very fun matchups there. If you like Drew Parker, Rena, and Los Mestizos as I do, you will be very happy with Fight Club Night 2. As some way or another, they all kind of have matches against each other. We do get to see Joey Janela and Cole Radrick settle their differences in a extreme title versus extreme title match, which was kind of fun, and that made sense after the ending on night 1. And yeah, there's night 2 packed a very good punch as night 1 did, and night 2 was very enjoyable, and we will cover that on our next podcast.
Yes.
Before we head out, you want to say any last words to our listeners out there, John?
I'm thankful for everyone. This is really awesome. People have been kind. People have been listening. And we're doing it for the love, and we're getting love back.
And yes, I have one little announcement is we did break the 900 listener mark
nice.
During this episode, as we were right there, right before we called it or started recording this podcast. We were so close, and we did break that. So nice, fun seeing the milestones happen while we're recording. Gives us the motivation. So thank you all out there for listening.
Thank you.
I know we got a lot of people listening in LA, San Jose, Atlantic City, Texas. As you said, we've kind of gone across the pond in Liverpool. That was our most popular episode. Was
brothers and sisters across the fucking oceans.
You guys definitely stepped up, and that GCW, I think it was versus TNT episode, is already our number 1 most listened to, and it's kind of blew up so fast where these other ones have been out for a while. So yes, thank you out there, Liverpool fans, and it's been cool seeing before the show, seeing all the different places we're being listened to. So we do want to just say once again, as we always do, thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. We hope you're enjoying it. Please don't ever, if you have any comments or questions that you would like us to answer, please hit us up on Twitter. I know it's been a while since we said our Twitter account, so I am at B from GCW Plant Podcast. It's at GCW Plant Podcast. You can find
and
go ahead.
And I'm over there too. If you have any complaints, send that shit over there.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, you ain't getting me all.
Yeah, John J. Wolf. You can find me over at Twitter. You can just say hello or whatever you want to do. I talk to pretty much everybody that comes through, as long as they're not a bot.
And he will add heel to his name after this episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's been fun. We do appreciate it. I can't wait to cover night 2, as night 1 was very fun to cover tonight. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot more holes being opened up and for us to talk about, see what's going to fill those holes, because that's what makes wrestling so fun for us, is seeing where the action's going to take us and where the stories are going to lead us to. And there's a lot of possibilities out after night 1, and night 2 there's even more. So it's going to be fun to cover GCW Fight Club Night 2. We did talk about it real fast before we end it here. JCW show kind of might be mixed in with the GCW Sediment Series show, as they kind of sprung a show on us earlier a couple days ago that was kind of unannounced and unexpected. So for the sake of our own sanities and for the sake of kind of staying on track of these podcasts, as we're kind of getting there now, we might just combine JCW's versus the world.
Just in time for the next one.
Yeah, right. It's like we finished. Oh shit, we got 3 more to do. So just for the sake of that stuff, we might just combine that into the Settlement Series part. What are they, 4 or 5 now?
4. Yeah.
So yeah, and I haven't even watched it yet because we've been recording this and it kind of was sprung up on us midweek, which is seems like the next couple shows are going to be midweek, and I'm hoping by the end of that series, as we kind of talked about off podcast, it will lead us to some very exciting news for GCW fans out there trying to get your hands on more GCW content and kind of catch up like historically of what's been kind of going on and checking out fun past GCW shows. So a lot of fun stuff GCW's got, as always. They're just not only just busting out the shows, but giving us fans what we want and giving us surprises. So it's going to be fun covering it pretty much the rest of the year, in my opinion, is what it's looking. On behalf of myself and Mr. Heel, John J. Wolf, we thank you all for listening, and we will catch you for GCW Fight Club Night 2. And as always, long live GCW.
W.
Boo.